Mike and John Boy though for the final time. Oh, John Boy's made a mistake. John Boy's gone really wide there coming up the hill, and I think that's going to be Mike Gaming finally. Well, he's pretty much, that's the nail in John Boy's hopes to taking this feature race win. Mike Gaming will take the double here tonight, and John Boy's going to be absolutely gutted with that one. The champion of the Clio Cup, the reigning champ, is going to have to settle for second best for a second time here tonight. Mike Gaming has really put in the work. He has been putting in the practice over the pre-season, and he's improved no end here in these Clio Cup cars. Out of the last corner comes Mike Gaming, and he's going to take 2 from 2 here at Laguna Seca for the season opener. Flash the lights from him. Mike Gaming, a superb drive all night tonight. John Boy comes over to take second place. The outside, but the Nuts there managing to get the lead. Now Paul Pooh is looking to the inside of Aussie Albie as well. Aussie Albie needs to keep cool. Oh, the Nuts moves across on Aussie Albie. That's the second time tonight that he's done that. The Nuts there just moved across unnecessarily, and there's a big pile up there. Cobb gets collected, and so does Beam Basher. John Boy, the race leader, he's just coming through Woodcote, and John Boy was able to capitalise on everybody else's problems here and just be in the right place at the right time. John Boy up towards the line, last season's Clio Cup champion, comes over the line in the feature race to take the win here at Silverstone. But they're coming through the final half of that. Where's the race leader, Mike Gaming? He's just coming through the final few corners. Aussie Albie could be moments away from sealing a very deserved P2. A massive credit to him for the race he's driven in the final part of this race. Mike Gaming is coming to the final few corners, and he's going to take the checkered flag. It's going to be 2 wins from 2 for Mike Gaming. A flash the lights from him. A flawless performance here tonight. But Aussie Albie, he's going to, I think, bring it home for P2. 9 of you currently watching, smash the like button, show your appreciation for this man here who has managed to hold off John Boy in one of the best defensive drives I think I've ever seen here at Motive. Aussie Albie comes over to take P2 ahead of John Boy in third.
Turn 8 onto the back straight. Mike, it just looks like he's right at time there. He's managed to get the gap down to 6 seconds. It's 3 seconds, sorry. Flash of the lights there from Mike. He says, well done, John Boy. And just right at time. And he did have the pace, but it's also down to, do you really want to push under these circumstances where we saw Cobb was pushing and ended up in the wall. Now he's dropped down to P3. So your winner of the feature race this evening is John Boy, taking the maximum 50 points. Mike coming home second and taking the fastest lap of the race. It will be Cobb rounding up your podium if Ryan doesn't do something in this last corner. As we see, Ryan's closed that gap down massively in this last lap or two. And Cobb being defensive there at the last corner. It's quite a run down to the finish line, so will it be a photo finish or will Cobb get away with it? I think he will. And Mike now just thinking, where can I get back past Andy? Where can I do this? As Andy just trying to hit his lines perfect, get on the power earlier than he has before, brake later than he has before, and get himself around for the victory in this sprint race here at Motive Racing this evening. So he's looking in his mirrors now. Who's slipstreaming? Where are they? Where are they? Mike's on the track, off the track, trying to get past. John Boy's on the outside. We're 3 wide into the chicane. Mike manages to get it done. Andy's on the inside. Who's going to be first into the last corner? John Boy comes through the middle. I think John Boy's going to be on the inside into the last corner. Mike taking the outside, trying to get a good drive. We're going to be side by side out of the last corner. Who's going to take the victory? I think it's going to be John Boy, and it is John Boy. John Boy takes the victory there. What a drive John Boy got through that chicane to come flying through.
The champion-elect Mike Gaming moves to the inside and takes the lead into turn 1. Cobb though trying to come back at him. Cobb trying to sneak his nose up the inside. Ryan there's waiting in the wings as he's now got a run here on Cobb. Cobb defending the inside, coming through Ascari. Mike Gaming though leading down the back straight here for the final time. What can Cobb do? Has he got the slipstream? Has he got a run? Mike Gaming got a much better exit out of Ascari and is pulling away, coming down towards the Parabolica. I think Mike Gaming should have this done unless Cobb can get a good run out of the Parabolica. Ryan still waiting, hoping, maybe praying that he might be able to get a good run coming out onto the start finish straight. Here they come, massive lock up there from Cobb, really stood around. He can't win the race now. Ryan might get a run on him. Mike Gaming though is going to come up towards the line, and he came into this with a pretty healthy lead in the championship. Mike Gaming has done everything right over the course of tonight. It's going to be a magnificent double here at Monza Short, and it's going to be his first ever championship at Motive Racing, and that is not how I wanted him to finish the season. But nonetheless, congratulations to Mike Gaming on a fantastic season. Your Clio Cup champion for season 11. Cobb takes second ahead of Ryan in third of the Clio Cup for this season. His first championship at Motive. What an improvement, what steps he has made from last season to this season. When it comes to drivers taking it to the next level, Mike has truly done that, both on Mondays and on Thursday nights. We've still got Thursday to go. Could it be the double? But nonetheless, you've got one half of it. Mike Gaming, Clio Cup champion at Motive Racing for season 11. How does that feel?
Great, absolutely awesome. The racing, the close fights, the little ups, little downs, amazing. Just love it.
Obviously, you've been so consistent this season. You've taken double wins. You've been the dominant force around so many circuits. I've seen your pace up close and personal a couple of times. I managed to get into a couple of races this season, and how competitive you are, and how clean and how fair, but how uncompromising you are out on track. It really is fantastic to behold. In terms of John Boy this season, how close has he pushed you this season? How difficult is it to go up against him? Because I know the answer as well, but is it a case of, did you feel like at points like this could have got away from you?
At some points I did, because he just did not give anything away about his position, his standings, his overall pace. He just comes in the race and just shows it to you. No exception, no rounds. It was just, you cannot predict how fast he's gonna be, but
Mike and John Boy though for the final time. Oh, John Boy's made a mistake. John Boy's gone really wide there coming up the hill, and I think that's going to be Mike Gaming finally. Well, he's pretty much, that's the nail in John Boy's hopes to taking this feature race win. Mike Gaming will take the double here tonight, and John Boy's going to be absolutely gutted with that one. The champion of the Clio Cup, the reigning champ, is going to have to settle for second best for a second time here tonight. Mike Gaming has really put in the work. He has been putting in the practice over the pre-season, and he's improved no end here in these Clio Cup cars. Out of the last corner comes Mike Gaming, and he's going to take 2 from 2 here at Laguna Seca for the season opener. Flash the lights from him. Mike Gaming, a superb drive all night tonight. John Boy comes over to take second place. The outside, but the Nuts there managing to get the lead. Now Paul Pooper's looking to the inside of Aussie Albie as well. Aussie needs to keep calling. Oh, the Nuts moves across on Aussie Albie. That's the second time tonight that he's done that. The Nuts there just moved across unnecessarily, and there's a big pile up there. Cobb gets collected, and so does Beam Basher. John Boy, the race leader, he's just coming through Woodcote, and John Boy was able to capitalise on everybody else's problems here and just be in the right place at the right time. John Boy up towards the line, last season's Clio Cup champion, comes over the line in the feature race to take the win here at Silverstone. But they're coming through the final half of that. Where's the race leader Mike Gaming? He's just coming through the final few corners. Aussie Albie could be moments away from sealing a very deserved P2. A massive credit to him for the race he's driven in the final part of this race. Mike Gaming is coming to the final few corners, and he's going to take the checkered flag. It's going to be 2 wins from 2 for Mike Gaming. A flash of lights from him. A flawless performance here tonight. But Aussie Albie, he's going to, I think, bring it home for P2. 9 of you currently watching, smash the like button, show your appreciation for this man here, who has managed to hold off John Boy in one of the best defensive drives I think I've ever seen here at Motive. Aussie Albie comes over to take P2 ahead of John Boy in third.
Turn 8 onto the back straight. Mike, it just looks like he's right at time there. He's managed to get the gap down to 6 seconds. It's 3 seconds, sorry. Flash of the lights there from Mike. He says, well done, John Boy. And just right at time. And he did have the pace, but it's also down to, do you really want to push under these circumstances where we saw Cobb was pushing and ended up in the wall. Now he's dropped down to P3. So your winner of the feature race this evening is John Boy, taking the maximum 50 points. Mike coming home second and taking the fastest lap of the race. It will be Cobb rounding up your podium if Ryan doesn't do something in this last corner. As we see, Ryan's closed that gap down massively in this last lap or two. And Cobb being defensive there out of the last corner. It's quite a run down to the finish line, so will it be a photo finish or will Cobb get away with it? I think he will. And Mike now just thinking, where can I get back past Andy? Where can I do this? As Andy just trying to hit his lines perfect, get on the power earlier than he has before, brake later than he has before, and get himself around for the victory in this sprint race here at Motive Racing this evening. So he's looking in his mirrors now. Who's slipstreaming? Where are they? Where are they? Mike's on the track, off the track, trying to get past. John Boy's on the outside. We're 3 wide into the chicane. Mike manages to get it done. Andy's on the inside. Who's going to be first into the last corner? John Boy comes through the middle. I think John Boy's going to be on the inside into the last corner. Mike taking the outside, trying to get a good drive. We're going to be side by side out of the last corner. Who's going to take the victory? And I think it's going to be John Boy. And it is John Boy. John Boy takes the victory there. What a drive John Boy got through that chicane to come flying through.
The champion-elect Mike Gaming moves to the inside and takes the lead into turn 1. Cobb though trying to come back at him. Cobb trying to sneak his nose up the inside. Ryan there's waiting in the wings as he's now got a run here on Cobb. Cobb defending the inside, coming through Ascari. Mike Gaming though leading down the back straight here for the final time. What can Cobb do? Has he got the slipstream? Has he got a run? Mike Gaming got a much better exit out of Ascari and is pulling away, coming down towards the Parabolica. I think Mike Gaming should have this done unless Cobb can get a good run out of the Parabolica. Ryan still waiting, hoping, maybe praying that he might be able to get a good run. Coming finish straight. Here they come. Massive lock up there from Cobb. Really stood around. He can't win the race now. Ryan might get a run on him. Mike Gaming, though, is going to come up towards the line, and he came into this with a pretty healthy lead in the championship. Mike Gaming has done everything right over the course of tonight. It's going to be a magnificent double here at Monteshort, and it's going to be his first ever championship at Motive Racing, and that is not how I wanted him to finish the season. But nonetheless, congratulations to Mike Gaming on a fantastic season. Your Clio Cup champion for season 11. Cobb takes second ahead of Ryan in third of the Clio Cup for this season. His first championship at Motive. What an improvement, what steps he has made from last season to this season. When it comes to drivers taking it to the next level, Mike has truly done that, both on Mondays and on Thursday nights. We've still got Thursday to go. Could it be the double? But nonetheless, you've got one half of it. Mike Gaming, Clio Cup champion at Motive Racing for season 11. How does that feel?
Great, absolutely awesome. The racing, the close fights, the little ups, little downs, amazing. Just love it.
Obviously, you've been so consistent this season. You've taken double wins. You've been the dominant force around so many circuits. I've seen your pace up close and personal a couple of times. I managed to get into a couple of races this season, and how competitive you are, and how clean and how fair, but how uncompromising you are out on track. It really is fantastic to behold. In terms of John Boy this season, how close has he pushed you this season? How difficult is it to go up against him? Because I know the answer as well, but is it a case of, did you feel like at points like this could have got away from you?
At some points I did, because he just did not give anything away about his position, his standings, his overall pace. He just comes in the race and just shows it to you. No exception, no rounds. It was just, you cannot predict how fast he's gonna be, but
Mike and John Boy though for the final time. Oh, John Boy's made a mistake. John Boy's gone really wide there coming up the hill, and I think that's going to be Mike Gaming finally. Well, he's pretty much, that's the nail in John Boy's hopes to taking this feature race win. Mike Gaming will take the double here tonight, and John Boy's going to be absolutely gutted with that one. The champion of the Clio Cup, the reigning champ, is going to have to settle for second best for a second time here tonight. Mike Gaming has really put in the work. He has been putting in the practice over the pre-season, and he's improved no end here in these Clio Cup cars. Out of the last corner comes Mike Gaming, and he's going to take 2 from 2 here at Laguna Seca for the season opener. A flash the lights from him. Mike Gaming, a superb drive all night tonight. John Boy comes over to take second place. The outside, but the Nuts there managing to get the lead. Now Papu is looking to the inside of Aussie Albie as well. Aussie Albie needs to keep cool. Oh, the Nuts moves across on Aussie Albie. That's the second time tonight that he's done that. The Nuts there just moved across unnecessarily, and there's a big pile up there. Cobb gets collected, and so does Beam Basher. John Boy, the race leader, he's just coming through Woodcote, and John Boy was able to capitalise on everybody else's problems here and just be in the right place at the right time. John Boy up towards the line, last season's Clio Cup champion, comes over the line in the feature race to take the win here at Silverstone. But they're coming through the final half of that. Where's the race leader, Mike Gaming? He's just coming through the final few corners. Aussie Albie could be moments away from sealing a very deserved P2. A massive credit to him for the race he's driven in the final part of this race. Mike Gaming is coming to the final few corners, and he's going to take the checkered flag. It's going to be 2 wins from 2 for Mike Gaming. A flash of lights from him. A flawless performance here tonight. But Aussie Albie, he's going to, I think, bring it home for P2. 9 of you currently watching, smash the like button, show your appreciation for this man here, who has managed to hold off John Boy in one of the best defensive drives I think I've ever seen here at Motive. Aussie Albie comes over to take P2 ahead of John Boy in third.
Turn 8 onto the back straight. And Mike, it just looks like he's right at time there. He's managed to get the gap down to 6 seconds. It's 3 seconds, sorry. Flash of the lights there from Mike. He says, well done, John Boy. And just right at time. And he did have the pace, but it's also down to, do you really want to push under these circumstances where we saw Cobb was pushing and ended up in the wall. Now he's dropped down to P3. So your winner of the feature race this evening is John Boy, taking the maximum 50 points. Mike coming home second and taking the fastest lap of the race. It will be Cobb rounding up your podium if Ryan doesn't do something in this last corner. As we see, Ryan's closed that gap down massively in this last lap or two. And Cobb being defensive there at the last corner. It's quite a run down to the finish line, so will it be a photo finish or will Cobb get away with it? I think he will. And Mike now just thinking, where can I get back past Andy? Where can I do this? As Andy just trying to hit his lines perfect, get on the power earlier than he has before, brake later than he has before, and get himself around for the victory in this sprint race here at Motive Racing this evening. So he's looking in his mirrors now. Who's slipstreaming? Where are they? Where are they? Mike's on the track, off the track, trying to get past. John Boy's on the outside. We're 3 wide into the chicane. Mike manages to get it done. Andy's on the inside. Who's going to be first into the last corner? John Boy comes through the middle. I think John Boy's going to be on the inside into the last corner. Mike taking the outside, trying to get a good drive. We're going to be side by side out of the last corner. Who's going to take the victory? And I think it's going to be John Boy. And it is John Boy. John Boy takes the victory there. What a drive John Boy got through that chicane to come flying through.
The champion-elect Mike Gaming moves to the inside and takes the lead into turn 1. Cobb though trying to come back at him. Cobb trying to sneak his nose up the inside. Ryan there's waiting in the wings as he's now got a run here on Cobb. Cobb defending the inside, coming through Ascari. Mike Gaming though leading down the back straight here for the final time. What can Cobb do? Has he got the slipstream? Has he got a run? Mike Gaming got a much better exit out of Ascari and is pulling away, coming down towards the Parabolica. I think Mike Gaming should have this done unless Cobb can get a good run out of the Parabolica. Ryan still waiting, hoping, maybe praying that he might be able to get a good run coming out onto the start finish straight. Here they come. Massive lock up there from Cobb. Really stood around. He can't win the race now. Ryan might get a run on him. Mike Gaming though is going to come up towards the line, and he came into this with a pretty healthy lead in the championship. Mike Gaming has done everything right over the course of tonight. It's going to be a magnificent double here at Monteshore, and it's going to be his first ever championship at Motive Racing, and that is not how I wanted him to finish the season. But nonetheless, congratulations to Mike Gaming on a fantastic season. Your Clio Cup champion for season 11. Cobb takes second ahead of Ryan in third. Of the Clio Cup for this season, his first championship at Motive. What an improvement, what steps he has made from last season to this season. When it comes to drivers taking it to the next level, Mike has truly done that, both on Mondays and on Thursday nights. We've still got Thursday to go, could it be the double, but nonetheless, you've got one half of it. Mike Gaming, Clio Cup champion at Motive Racing for season 11. How does that feel?
Great. Absolutely awesome. The racing, the close fights, the little ups, little downs, amazing. Just love it.
Obviously, you've been so consistent this season. You've taken double wins. You've been the dominant force around so many circuits. I've seen your pace up close and personal a couple of times. I managed to get into a couple of races this season, how competitive you are, and how clean and how fair, but how uncompromising you are out on track. It really is fantastic to behold. In terms of John Boy this season, how close has he pushed you this season? How difficult is it to go up against him? Because I know the answer as well, but is it a case of, did you feel like at points like this could have got away from you?
At some points I did, because he just did not give anything away about his position, his standings, his overall pace. He just comes in the race and just shows it to you. No exception, no rounds. It was just, you cannot predict how fast he's gonna be.
Audio check, audio check, audio check. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are back for another season here on Project Cars 2, here for the Clio Cup on our usual Monday night slot here. It's 8:30 p.m. in the evening. You all know what it's time for. It is the Clios once again, and we have got 14 drivers in here tonight. We've got a full grid signed up to the championship, but unfortunately Charlie Goff and Granad Steve couldn't be with us here, so we've got 14 drivers out there right now, and it's currently your reigning champion Mike Gaming setting the pace here in the opening qualifying session of the season. Obviously this is the only time that we'll be having a qualifying session to kick off the night. From the next round and from the rest of the season onwards, we will be having a 5-minute practice, which will then go into a reverse grid sprint race based on the championship standings. So the championship standings will be basically flipped on their head, and we'll be starting in a reverse order of whatever the standings are coming into the round. So that will be from next week onwards, but for this week we're going to kick things off with a quick qualifying session to set the grid. Currently Mike 4/10 clear at the top of the leaderboard, so he's flying at the moment around this Oschersleben B course. Oschersleben, based in Germany, it's a tight, compact circuit, especially the B course, where you miss out the little loop bit that goes around the hairpin and the chicane. You kind of cut that whole section out on the B course, so it's a very short and sharp circuit. It's a few slow corners and some medium speed corners, not really any quick corners on this track. It's all slow to medium speed, so it's going to be about drivers getting good traction and managing to I think be a bit aggressive through these twisty parts of the track. John Boy coming over to the line, what can he do? He stays P2 for the time being. I know John Boy's quick around this track, I know he's got plenty of pace. We've seen before, I've gone up against him in the touring cars around this circuit. He's always very strong. Jay sat in third in this qualifying session. You've got Cobb in P4, looks like he's done. Aussie Albie's gone P5 here in this session. I want to say a massive shout out to Aussie Albie's other half, Emma, currently in hospital at the moment, just undergoing some checks. We wish you all the best, Emma. I can notice that you're in the chat there saying good luck guys, have a great first round of the season. Thank you very much, Emma, and I hope that you feel better soon and you're back at home with Aussie Albie as soon as possible. Best wishes to yourself. We've also got Archie in the comments saying good luck to me. Fingers crossed I don't mess this up. Let's hope Archie that you have a good comeback race here on Project Cars 2. We know obviously you've had a bit of a layoff. You've been racing on ACC with us on Wednesday nights on the PS4 League, but yeah, it'd be good to see what you can get up to here. Currently 14th in this qualifying session, Archie, so what can he do from there then? But it is Mike who takes the first pole position of the season, 4/10 clear of John Boy, so he's really setting a blistering pace at the moment. Is Mike Gaming. John Boy second, Jay third, ahead of Cobb in fourth place. Aussie Albie fifth, ahead of Nick DeVilla, who line up in sixth place, with M. Afford seventh, followed by Park Booper in eighth, Connor Boylan in ninth, Ryan completing the top 10 with Big Blue in 11th, Raids Fader in P12. I know he can go a lot quicker. We've seen him very quick in the pre-season testing. Smoky Devil 13th, and Archie rounding out the grid in 14th place. Guys, smash the like button if you enjoy or are enjoying what you're watching right now. Show your appreciation for the drivers out on track. Let us know in the comments who you think is going to take the win here in this first race of the night. A new format for this season. We're going to be running 3 races over the course of the night, so this will obviously be the first one. They're all 20 minutes long approximately. But obviously no pit stops needed nowadays in the Clio Cup or the touring cars. We're going to be just doing straight out sprints to the line. It's going to be all about racecraft and about being in the right place at the right time. And obviously this first race, as I said before, of the season is going to be set by that qualifying session that we just had, but then in future races it will be a reverse grid with a formation lap beforehand based on the championship standings coming into that round. So it's really going to mix things up a little bit and kind of keep the guys guessing, keep them on their toes a little bit, and make it a bit more spicy, a bit more dramatic for us viewers here who are watching live on the channel. 6 of you currently watching the stream, guys, smash the like button as I said before. Subscribe to the Motive Racing channel if you haven't already. It really does help us out an enormous amount, as we're already syncing up, so everybody's readied up here. Obviously default setups, there's not too much to do in terms of setting the cars up, and the lights should be coming on in a second. As here we go, lights are on now and it's green and we are underway, and Mike did not get away very well at all. John Boy's already got ahead of him coming up towards turn 1, but Mike has the inside line. John Boy just slightly ahead as you've got Jay attacking there to the inside. Has Mike managed to keep onto P1 here as we come into the first corner? John Boy there trying to keep it around the outside. He'll have the inside for turn 2, but Mike keeping it there and has managed to hold on to the lead. So it's Mike from John Boy from Jay, the top 3. Aussie Albie's just sneaked her up into 4th place there. Nick Levitta's gone ahead of Cobb. Cobb's had a nightmare first couple of corners here, down to 6th place. Looking down the order, it looks very clean so far. Emma Fit ahead of Park Pooper, followed by Raids Fader, who's made a good start up into 9th. Ryan still P10. You got Smokey ahead of Big Blue, followed by Archie, who's got ahead of Connor Boylan up into 13th place. But Mike Gaming leads us here coming through the first half a lap, and everybody seems to have been very tidy indeed so far. No rash manoeuvres and no reckless overtakes here, so great to see. And Mike Gaming, your reigning champion, currently leading the field as John Boy gets it all wrong coming through the chicane. Just survives though, keeps onto it. He did really well there to keep it together. John Boy was living dangerously there coming through the chicane. He really walloped that curve quite heavily, but gets away with it, and Jay wasn't able to capitalise there, right behind him in 3rd place. Aussie Albie doing a good job right now, keeping on the back of these guys at the moment. As we can see, Cobb on 2 wheels there coming out of the last corner, keeps it together. M. Afford is right on the back of him now as well. Park Pooper, Raids Fader, Ryan is still right there as well. A little way back to the rest of them. You've got Smokey down the back of that pack, Big Blue, and then Connor and Archie seem to have dropped off in the rest of the pack at the moment, down in 13th and 14th places. As John Boy just gives Mike a bit of a tap in the rear there, coming through turn 2, out of turn 3, out onto this little back straight, and John Boy seems to have maybe got the edge here. No, Mike just gets a better run coming up towards turn 4. Mike with the inside line into the left hand bend, and Mike for the time being keeps on to P1. John Boy though really giving Mike something to worry about in the early stages of this race here, for the first race of 18 races this season, 3 races per round, 6 rounds, a 6-week season, and currently Mike has got John Boy letting him know that he doesn't want to come second best to him again, as we've got Jay in the background here watching this unfold. The 3 leaders have broken away a little bit from the rest of them right now. Aussie Albie running in in 4th place. Doesn't seem to be able to keep with these guys at the moment. They are in a class of their own at this stage, but Mike Gaming currently still with track position at this point as they're coming out of the last corner. You got Aussie Albie, who's still just ahead of Nick the Villa at the moment. Part Pooper Rex, Cobb and Ryan pretty close. These three, this trio battling over 6th place. Then you've got M. Afford, Big Blue, Smokey and Connor now trying to close up onto these guys as well. Raids Fade has had a moment. I'm not sure what's happened to him, but Raids Fader must have dropped it somewhere on that lap because he has got big damage on the front of that car, and that's not going to be helping him in any way, shape or form in the first race here of this season. But it's Mike and John Boy 4/10 apart. They've just broken away a little bit from Jay. Jay must have made a mistake at some point on this lap because I don't think he would have lost that amount of time just down to his pace. I think he's definitely had a bit of an issue somewhere. Can he get back onto these two leaders, Mike and John Boy? That is the question right now. But John Boy very much is keeping Mike on his toes as we look back to the battle here for 4th place. Nick the Villa's got ahead of Aussie Albie up into 4th, and Part Pooper's hoping he can get involved in this one as well, as we just see the cameraman panning out for the rest of the other guys who are in that battle behind them. Obviously M. Afford, Smokey, Big Blue, Connor and Archie, but we're watching the battle for 4th place, which is currently comprised of 5 cars going all the way from Nick down to Ryan, and you can see here Part Pooper looking to the inside. He sends one on the inside of Aussie Albie there, bit aggressive from Part Pooper, and Aussie Albie's going to lose out to Cobb. Cobb now is going to make this 3 wide down the start finish straight. This is very aggressive racing there from Part Pooper Rex. He's now in the middle, he's in the sandwich here between Cobb and Aussie Albie as they're now coming into turn 1. Who's going to go latest on the brakes? Looks like Cobb goes latest on the brakes. Can he hold it around the outside? Cobb there making 2 positions in a few hundred meters, and Cobb is up into 5th place. It was brave to go around the outside there with 2 guys on your inside. You don't know if they're going to miss their braking point, you don't know if they're going to try and outbrake you, but Cobb there managed to pull that off beautifully there into 5th place and can now try and chase down Nick the Villa, who's managed to just gap these guys a little bit. He's 4.5 seconds off of the leaders Mike, John and Jay though at this point, but Nick the Villa is having a good race so far here tonight. Cobb though into 5th. Part Pooper's still got Aussie and Ryan really close to him. Ryan's just waiting in the wings. Can he pounce? Can he get involved in this action here? Bit of a gap back to M. Afford, Smokey, Big Blue and Connor, who are still in a little bit of a scrap here for what is currently 9th place here in this race. Archie's also not dropped to offer them too much either. He's still there in with a bit of a shout here in this battle for P9, but we've got to keep looking at the battle for the front because Mike Gaming and John Boy separated by 0.6 of a second as they're coming over the line here to complete lap 4. And into turn 1 we come once again. Mike Gaming has the advantage. John Boy keeping him very much in his sights at this stage. Jay's just keeping the gap at around 2 seconds. Mike was the quickest man last time around though. 1:11.1 from Mike Gaming, 1:11.3 from John Boy, and Jay a 1:11.8. So not quite on the pace of the 2 leaders on that last lap was Jay. Nick the Villa in the mid 1:12. So is Cobb. Part Pooper and Ryan not quite on the pace of Nick and Cobb, but Nick and Cobb not on the pace of the leaders at this point. So they're just in sort of a limbo stage in between the 3 leaders and obviously the mid pack. But at the moment, Part Pooper's keeping Ryan at bay. Aussie Albie is keeping on the back of Part Pooper and Ryan. You've obviously got M. Afford, who is still keeping Smokey behind him. Big Blue, Connor, Archie there is just dropped off of these guys a little bit over the last lap or so, but he's still within a 1.5 seconds of Connor at this stage. So it's been a strong debut from Archie, a decent return to Project Cars 2. He's obviously been on for this game for quite a while. He's been playing on ACC. He's been racing in the Wednesday GT3 League on the PS4 platform with us on ACC as John Boy's made the move on Mike. Has Mike got a slowdown? I think he must have had a slowdown there because John Boy breezed past him far too easily there coming down the straights, and Mike Gaming has had to hand the initiative to last season's runner-up in the championship, and it's a switch over in terms of the championship position as last season. The runner-up now leads the champion as they're coming around turn 3 on lap 6 here for this first race of the season. Obviously race 1 of 3 for the night. 3 races per round this season for the Clio Cup. John Boy really deep there through turn 4, just gets it turned in and keeps it on the track, but that was living dangerous there from John Boy. He doesn't want to be doing that too often, that's for sure. These guys are keeping Jay just about at arm's reach at the moment. Jay a 1:11.9, but on this lap so far he's closed in a bit because obviously Mike had to get out of it and let John Boy pass due to a slowdown penalty, which is keeping Jay just in the hunt at the moment. Nick is just out of Cobb still at this point. Cobb is really trying to put it up Nick if he can. These two not quite on the pace of the top three at the moment. Park Hooper's still just ahead of Aussie Albie and Ryan, keeping these guys on their toes. They've gapped M. Afford a bit, and M. Afford really wide. They're coming out of the chicane. That's going to give Smokey an opportunity to close up onto the back of him now in this battle for 9th place. Smokey Devil will be looking at this one, hoping he might be able to get a good run out of the last corner. If he can get a good exit, he might fancy a slingshot move into turn 1 here on M. Afford. Here we go. We've also got a bit of action going up ahead here as Ryan is very close on Aussie Albie right now. Is he going to send one into turn 1? Let's go trackside here and see if Ryan Ruby's going to look to send one. No, he doesn't. What about Smokey? Smokey's going to try and look up the inside of M. Afford here. No, he doesn't. Thinks better of it and tucks in behind for the time being. M. Afford maintains 9th place for the time being. Mike is still right on the back of John Boy as these two going at it here. They're just under 3 seconds clear of Jay at this point. Big lock up there from both of them as they're really pushing the limits, trying to get the cars slowed down as late and as quickly as they possibly can. But John Boy still holding the initiative, having taken the lead due to Mike's slowdown penalty. Mike seemed to have shaken off that slowdown penalty because he hasn't got a red splotch next to his name, which means that he hasn't got any penalties which he's going to need to, which are going to be added to his time at the end of the race. But Mike Gaming is still right on John Boy here. Is he going to be able to get a run here out into the start finish? He looks like he's got a decent exit, but John Boy also likewise got good traction as he come over the line here. So 111.4 there from Mike, a 111 dead for, sorry, 111.4 from John Boy, 111 dead from Mike as he's now looking to the outside into turn 1. He's going to try and go all the way round here. He is going to go all the way around him. Mike Gaming there, bit of track limits maybe on the exit. John Boy gets the cut back beautifully there, and John Boy saw that coming from a mile off. You're going to have to get up earlier in the morning if you want to get John Boy there, Mike. John Boy absolutely beautifully telegraphed that to perfection and maintains the lead there. But Mike Gaming was just, I think, just trying it, just testing the waters a little bit here. It didn't quite work out for him, and John Boy still your race leader here on lap 8 of this one as Mike just trying to go for a bit of a cutback there, coming through the hairpin, nothing doing at the moment. John Boy still maintains the lead. These two 3 seconds clear of Jay at the moment. But this race just starting to settle down a little bit in terms of the rest of the pack. Nick and Cobb still running pretty close at the moment. You've got Park Hooper, Aussie and Ryan still running within a second of each other, those three. Smokey has still got M. Afford very much in his mirrors at this point. Big Blue only a couple of seconds behind them. You've got Connor in 12, Archie running in P13. It's just dropped off the back of Connor a little bit. Raids Fader with his damage on the first lap. Has he come into the pits to get that damage repaired? I think he has. No, he hasn't. So he hasn't been in the pits at all. He's continuing on with that damage despite the fact that it's going to be slowing him down quite a bit. But he's obviously he feels like he's got control of it at the moment. But John Boy there still leading ahead of Mike. These two half a second apart, coming out down the back straight here on the 9th lap of the race. And they've managed to get Jay by quite a bit. Jay must have made a mistake on that last lap because Jay, a 1:15.2, he was over 3 seconds slower than the leaders on the last lap. So Jay has had a bit of a nightmare. I didn't actually see what happened, but he's now falling back into the clutches of Nick the Villa and Cobb. Let's have a look at Jay's car, see if he's got any damage. Doesn't look like he's got damage, or he has actually got a bit of a knock on the front. So I wonder if he has just tapped the wall a little bit. Maybe he's just carrying a little bit of damage on the front left of that car. Other than that, seems to be a-okay at this point, but yeah, not looking perfect at the moment. Oh, as Cobb has made the move on Nick the Villa. Nick the Villa, I think, might have had a slowdown there coming into the penultimate corner because Cobb seizes on that, says thank you very much indeed, and Cobb might fancy a run at Jay here for a podium place here in this first race of the season. It's still John Boy and Mike out the front, half a second between these two. These two still continuing to duel here at Motive in the Clio Cup. What a job these two have done last season, and this season they're continuing in the same vein as they were in the previous season. I asked John Boy last season at the end of the season if maybe his inability to retain his championship could have been down to the tracks last season, and he pretty much shrugged that one off and said, it's that's racing. It's sometimes you win some, you lose some. Ultimately, you're not going to always get the circuits that you like. So he kind of like in a way, non-committedly said maybe that was the case, but it seems like the Oschersleben B course is certainly a very happy hunting ground for him so far. 0.3 of a second between John Boy and Mike at the moment as they're coming through the tail end here of lap 10, as Jay's continuing to drop off for these guys now. I think he has maybe got a bit of damage on the car, because he's definitely not matching them like he was in the early stages of this race. You got Cobb and Nick still pretty close in 4th and 5th places. Part Pooper and Ryan still going at it with 6th and 7th as well. There's Ozzy Albie, who's trying to close up onto them if he can. Smokey Devil there ahead of M. Afford, followed by Big Blue. Connor there in 12th ahead of Archie, and then you've got Raids Vader still going in P14 with the damage on that car. But here we are, the two leaders coming through turns 2 and 3. John Boy and Mike Gaming have had an absolute field day out the front. They've been showing everybody how it's done. They've in a class of their own, really, in this race. Jay managed to keep with them for the first few laps, but seems to have just petered out a little bit over the last couple of the laps. But John Boy just doing everything he has to do at the moment, parking his car in all the right places. We've lost Raids Fader from the race, unfortunately. There, it looks like he's retired the car. He'll be back for the second race, but he won't get. He won't. I mean, even if the second race was the reverse grid, he still wouldn't be starting pole, just down to the fact that he hasn't completed 80% of the race distance, so he wouldn't start on pole anyway. But nonetheless, the next race is a qualifying session. Mike Gaming has got a great run coming out of the last corner, as we were talking about Raids Fader there. John Boy completely unawares, and Mike has swooped round into the lead. That was a very unexpected move there indeed. Did John Boy just get a little bit onto the curb on the exit of the last corner? John Boy's now having a look into turn 1. Mike Gaming defends, weaves around a little bit, goes a little bit deep into the corner. Can John Boy get the cut back like he did earlier on? Not this time around. Mike just gets it stopped, and Mike Gaming now with the lead of the race, with probably what was going to be about 5 laps left to go in this race. What has John Boy got to throw at him here in the final few laps here at the Oschersleben for race 1 of 3 on the night? Obviously race 1 of 18 for the season, with 3 races per round for this Clio car. But Mike Gaming has gone and seized the initiative now. Can John Boy throw it back at him here as they're coming through the hairpin? But is it going to be a similar story to what we saw last season? We saw Mike Gaming taking a few wins with John Boy hassling him, but just couldn't find a way through in some of the races. Are we going to be seeing a similar story this season, or is John Boy going to find an answer and find a bit of grit and determination here in the final sort of 5-6 minutes of this first race of the night, as these two now nearly 10 seconds clear of Jay. Jay's managed to gap Cobb by a couple of seconds. Cobb's still got Nick on the back of him in the battle for 4th and 5th places. You've got Part Pooper and Ozzy still going at it for 6th and 7th, as they've got Ryan still on the back of them as well. Ozzy Albie's got a good run actually coming through the penultimate corner. Is he going to look to send one down the inside into the last corner? Here he goes, bit of a lock up, but Ozzy Albie's got the run. He pushes Part Pooper a little bit wide. Part Pooper's going to have the inside down the straight. Here we go, side by side. Ryan's might be able to send one down the inside here on Ozzy as well here, as he's now going to be having a look. Here we go, in towards turn 1 we come now. Part Pooper there in the front of your screen, as you can got Ozzy Albie on the right hand side of Ryan. Ryan sends one on Ozzy and it's got the move done on him there. Ryan up into 7th place. Now Ryan's looking on the back of Part Pooper as well, looking to try and make 2 moves in the space of 3 corners. Ryan just about has got the run, he's just ahead, but Part Pooper squeezes back ahead on the run down towards turn 4, side by side between these two. Part Pooper wrecks with the outside there. Ryan has the inside line, and Part Pooper has the inside line. Ryan can't get it around him. Part Pooper holds on to P6 just about by the skin of his teeth, and for the time being Ryan tucks in there, but Part Pooper wrecks. That was living dangerously. You could see Ryan was really quite determined to seize the initiative, but couldn't quite make it happen. Part Pooper X maintains 6th place for the time being. As I'm just looking down the order, Jay's dropped it. Oh, Jay's made a mistake coming through the penultimate corner. He's got a bit of damage on the front. It should hopefully be all right. He might suffer a bit of time loss in the final couple of laps of this race. He's got Part Pooper, Ryan and Ozzy. Obviously that battle now is pretty much looming large on the horizon here for Jay. Ryan is pretty close on Part Pooper. He's going to look to send it into turn 1, is he, or is he going to think better of it? No, Ryan tucks in for the time being, although Park Pooper was a little bit early on the brakes. Ryan just had a look into the braking zone. Now he's going to look to try and get the cut back here, coming out of turn 3. Ryan sneaks down the inside. Can he get the move completed? Yes, he does. Thank you very much, says Ryan. And he's now into P6. Now Park Pooper's got to cover up Aussie Albie, who's looking down the inside as he cuts back and doesn't quite get it, doesn't quite make it happen there. Park Pooper holding on to P7, but Ryan Ruby now into 6th place and has cleared these two in the last couple of laps. Now what has he got to maybe try and chase down Jay, who's a couple of seconds ahead, but with a bit of damage on that car? Maybe the Jay might be easy prey for Ryan. Who knows what sort of pace he's got underneath that car with that damage on the car. We will get a representative lap time this time around because he did get his damage through the penultimate corner, so he would have got a reasonable run out of this corner. So we'll see what sort of times he's doing. How much time has he lost with that damage? He's coming over the line now, so obviously a 1:11 from Mike, 1:13 from Jay, so he's losing about 2 seconds to the leaders, and he's losing about a second a lap to these guys, Ryan, Park Pooper and Aussie. So I reckon we're probably going to have about 3 more laps, so Jay could be in danger here. He's only about a second and a half ahead of them, so I reckon in a lap or so's time Jay might find himself quite vulnerable to this charging pack unless he picks up the pace and finds something from somewhere. He could be in trouble here, but Jay here has got Ryan there pretty close. Now Aussie and Park Pooper close as well, as Aussie Albie swoops around the outside of Park Pooper Rex there into 7th place. Beautifully done there from Aussie Albie, but in the meantime, what can Ryan do here with Jay? Also keeping half an eye on the battle at the front because Mike Gaming and John Boy still separated by not much, only 7/10 of a second between the two leaders as they're starting their penultimate lap. John Boy's just got to throw the kitchen sink now at Mike Gaming here at the end of this first race of the night. Cobb and Nick still running pretty close as well, half a second separating these two in the battle for the final podium place. Jay and Ryan coming into the final corner with Aussie Albie now on the back of them as well, so Ryan has gained absolutely hand over fist over Jay on that lap. With Jay's damage, I fear he might be a sitting duck here for these guys behind him. Ryan's got the slipstream and he's going to be forced around the outside. No, he's going to come back to the inside there. Chase leaves the space and Chase swerves around a little bit there. Ryan to the outside into turn 1. Can he get it all the way around him? Jay really deep on the brakes. He's gone wide and he's going to lose out here as well to Aussie. And now Park Pooper's going to look around the outside as well. Jay loses 3 places in one corner, and to be fair, I think that's gone. It's pretty much exactly how I would have predicted, and that's probably the best way for that to happen, if I'm perfectly honest, because if that hadn't happened, I reckon that Jay would have ended up having to defend it very aggressively. I don't think he had the car underneath him to be able to defend that move, so I think that's probably for the best that happened. But Ryan has now got to watch out because Aussie's trying to come back at him here as we're on with a lap and a half left to go here in this race. Also, Mike and John Boy are now starting the final lap, but I think Mike has just got it in hand. Unless he makes a mistake on this last lap, I think that Mike Gaming should be about to take the first win of the season, as we've got DJ Phil in the comments saying, "Hi Andy, you okay? GT3s on Tuesday?" Yep, GT3s making their return on Project Cars 2 tomorrow night. Guys, make sure you tune in at the same time as these Clios tonight, because the GT3s will be back for another season. They've been away for a while they used to have them on Saturdays, but recently they've gone back to we've recently decided to bring them back on a Tuesday night. So tomorrow night, join us at 8:30 p.m. UK time. But we're currently watching the two leaders, Mike and John Boy, still running within a second of each other, but I think Mike's just going to see off the charge here of John Boy. And Aussie Albie's made a mistake because he's now behind Jay, so Jay back up into P7, gets a position handed to him on a plate there. Aussie was attacking on Ryan. Park Pooper's got ahead of both of Ryan and Aussie, and Park Pooper now up into P5, so I don't know if Ryan and Aussie maybe came together a little bit there, but Park Pooper up into 5th place. In the meantime, we're going to have a look at and see what Mike's doing, because Mike is coming up towards the line, and it's going to be the victory in the first race of the season here for Mike Gaming. The reigning champion gets off on the right foot as we see John Boy over the line in 2nd place. But these two having a great duel and continuing their rivalry this season. Hopefully we get a similar sort of championship battle as we saw last season. Mike Gaming taking the win, John Boy 2nd. Cobb in the end holds on ahead of Nick Lavilla for 3rd place, and the podium place there for Cobb. Nick Lavilla 4th. Park Pooper Rex is going to just hold on, I think, ahead of Ryan here for 5th, as it's a drag to the line, but Park Pooper 5th, Ryan 6th, Jay in the end 7th place. Aussie Albie's going to come over to take 8th place, but he drops down the order due to a penalty. So M. Afford and Big Blue both picking up positions. 8th for M. Afford, 9th for Big Blue. Aussie Albie P10. Smokey just holds on for P11 ahead of Connor, with Archie in 13th place. And obviously Raids Fader retired from the race a little way out. But Mike Gaming taking the first win of the season there, and once again showing he's got the credentials here at Motive. We're going to take a very short break, guys. We'll be about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll have the qualifying session underway. We're just going to quickly brief the guys, let them grab a drink and go to the loo and whatever, and we'll be back in a few moments time. Mike and John Boy though for the final time. Oh, John Boy's made a mistake. John Boy's gone really wide there coming up the hill, and I think that's going to be Mike Gaming finally. Well, he's pretty much, that's the nail in John Boy's hopes to taking this feature race win. Mike Gaming will take the double here tonight, and John Boy's going to be absolutely gutted with that one. The champion of the Clio Cup, the reigning champ, is going to have to settle for second best for a second time here tonight. Mike Gaming has really put in the work. He has been putting in the practice over the pre-season, and he's improved no end here in these Clio Cup cars. Out of the last corner comes Mike Gaming, and he's going to take 2 from 2 here at the goodness sake for the season opener. A flash of lights from him. Mike Gaming, a superb drive all night tonight. John Boy comes over to take second place. The outside, but the Nuts there managing to get the lead. Now Paul Pooh is looking to the inside of Aussie Albie as well. Aussie Albie needs to keep cool. Oh, the Nuts moves across on Aussie Albie. That's the second time tonight that he's done that. The Nuts there just moved across unnecessarily, and there's a big pile up there. Cobb gets collected, and so does Beam Basher. John Boy, the race leader, he's just coming through Woodcote, and John Boy was able to capitalise on everybody else's problems here and just be in the right place at the right time. John Boy up towards the line, last season's Clio Cup champion, comes over the line in the feature race to take the win here at Silverstone. But they're coming through the final half of that. Where's the race leader, Mike Gaming? He's just coming through the final few corners. Aussie Albie could be moments away from sealing a very deserved P2. A massive credit to him for the race he's driven in the final part of this race. Mike Gaming is coming to the final few corners, and he's going to take the checkered flag. It's going to be 2 wins from 2 for Mike Gaming. A flash of lights from him. A flawless performance here tonight. But Aussie Albie is going to, I think, bring it home for P2. 9 of you currently watching, smash the like button, show your appreciation for this man here, who has managed to hold off John Boy in one of the best defensive drives I think I've ever seen here at Motive. Aussie Albie comes over to take P2 ahead of John Boy in third.
Turn 8 onto the back straight. And Mike, it just looks like he's right at time there. He's managed to get the gap down to 6 seconds. It's 3 seconds, sorry. Flash of the lights there from Mike. He says, well done, John Boy. And just right at time. And he did have the pace, but it's also down to, do you really want to push under these circumstances where we saw Cobb was pushing and ended up in the wall. Now he's dropped down to P3. So your winner of the feature race this evening is John Boy, taking the maximum 50 points. Mike coming home second and taking the fastest lap of the race. It will be Cobb rounding up your podium if Ryan doesn't do something in this last corner. As we see, Ryan's closed that gap down massively in this last lap or two. And Cobb being defensive there at the last corner. It's quite a run down to the finish line, so will it be a photo finish or will Cobb get away with it? I think he will. And Mike now just thinking, where can I get back past Andy? Where can I do this? As Andy just trying to hit his lines perfect, get on the power earlier than he has before, brake later than he has before, and get himself around for the victory in this sprint race here at Motive Racing this evening. So he's looking in his mirrors now. Who's slipstreaming? Where are they? Where are they? Mike's on the track, off the track, trying to get past. John Boy's on the outside. We're 3 wide into the chicane. Mike manages to get it done. Andy's on the inside. Who's going to be first into the last corner? John Boy comes through the middle. I think John Boy's going to be on the inside into the last corner. Mike taking the outside, trying to get a good drive. We're going to be side by side out of the last corner. Who's going to take the victory? And I think it's going to be John Boy. And it is John Boy. John Boy takes a victory there. What a drive John Boy got through that chicane to come flying through.
The champion-elect Mike Gaming moves to the inside and takes the lead into turn one. Cobb though trying to come back at him. Cobb trying to sneak his nose up the inside. Ryan there's waiting in the wings as he's now got a run here on Cobb. Cobb defending the inside, coming through Ascari. Mike Gaming though leading down the back straight here for the final time. What can Cobb do? Has he got the slipstream? Has he got a run? Mike Gaming got a much better exit out of Ascari and is pulling away, coming down towards the Parabolica. I think Mike Gaming should have this done unless Cobb can get a good run out of the Parabolica. Ryan still waiting, hoping, maybe praying that he might be able to get a good run coming out onto the start finish straight. Here they come, massive lock up there from Cobb, really stood around. He can't win the race now. Ryan might get a run on him. Mike Gaming though is going to come up towards the line, and he came into this with a pretty healthy lead in the championship. Mike Gaming has done everything right over the course of tonight. It's going to be a magnificent double here at Monteshaw, and it's going to be his first ever championship at Motive Racing, and that is not how I wanted him to finish the season. But nonetheless, congratulations to Mike Gaming on a fantastic season. Your Clio Cup champion for season 11. Cobb takes second ahead of Ryan in third of the Clio Cup for this season. His first championship at Motive. What an improvement, what steps he has made from last season to this season. When it comes to drivers taking it to the next level, Mike has truly done that, both on Mondays and on Thursday nights. We've still got Thursday to go. Could it be the double? But nonetheless, you've got one half of it. Mike Gaming, Clio Cup champion at Motive Racing for season 11. How does that feel?
Great, absolutely awesome. The racing, the close fights, the little ups, little downs, amazing. Just love it.
Obviously, you've been so consistent this season. You've taken double wins. You've been the dominant force around so many circuits. I've seen your pace up close and personal a couple of times. I managed to get into a couple of races this season, and how competitive you are, and how clean and how fair, but how uncompromising you are out on track. It really is fantastic to behold. In terms of John Boy this season, how close has he pushed you this season? How difficult is it to go up against him? Because I know the answer as well, but is it a case of, did you feel like at points like this could have got away from you?
At some points I did, because he just did not give anything away about his position, his standings, his overall pace. He just comes in the race and just shows it to you. No exception, no rounds. It was just, you cannot predict.
Welcome back, guys. We're here for the second race, well, it's the second qualifying session of the night here at Motive for the Clio Cup. Obviously round one, race two of the night of three, and this one will always be a qualifying session for race two. So what we're going to be doing from next week onwards, race one will be a reverse grid based on the championship standings. This race two here will always be a 5-minute quali like it is now, and then obviously race three after this one will be a reverse grid based on the results from race two. So you got two reverse grids, and the middle one is fully on merit, proper qualifying session to determine the grid. So it's, mix it up a little bit. You've got different kind of skill sets suited to different kind of races, and currently Mike Gaming doing what he did in the first qualifying session tonight, but it's a lot closer than it was in the first qualifying session. John Boy within 0.04 of a second of Mike, so it's very close, and John Boy unable to pit Mike just at the end there on that last flying lap. So it looks as though it is going to be Mike Gaming who will be lining up on pole position for this one then. It's going to be Cobb in third, half a second adrift of those two. Nick Villa puts it P4. Ray's Fader's gone fifth. Now, did Jay get a lap in at the end there, or is he going to be starting P6? Yeah, Jay's starting P6 ahead of Ryan in seventh. You got Smokey in eighth, followed by Park Boop in ninth. Big Blue in P10. And then 11th place you got Archie Emafford in 12th, followed by Connor in 13th place, and Ozzy Albie rounding out the grid in 14th place for this one. So here we go, sun's starting to go down a little bit now here in Germany for this second race of the evening. Still no pit stops, but this one is in terms of laps rather than in terms of time. So this one is going to be straight out, sprint to the line as we saw just now, and it's going to be traditionally this is going to be the one that this is going to be the proper like sort of Grand Prix type race, if you like. Sort of the grid set from a qualifying session, and it's just an opportunity for the drivers to just show, you know, kind of like who's the quickest, who's got the raw pace sort of thing. Race 1 is a reverse grid on the championship standings. Race 2 is who's got the raw pace. Race 3 is give the guys who struggled in race 2 a bit more of a chance with a reverse grid based on the results from race 2. And obviously you've got Mike Gaming, who once again showing that he's got the raw pace, but John Boy pretty close there, only 400ths of a second. Cobb not too far away as well. What can he do? We saw Jay also was keeping up with Mike and John Boy in the early stages in the first race. Let's see if we can do the same here in this one. As here we go, we are syncing up now, getting ready to go for the second race. Lights are on, and it is lights out, and away we go. As somebody got an absolute flyer in the mid pack there. I think that might have been Ryan. I don't know if he jumped the start, but down towards turn 1, Nick the Villa has got an absolute flyer as well, and he's up into the lead. So did he jump the start? Maybe into turn 1 they come. And it's Nick the Villa leading ahead of John Boy, as John Boy actually manages to get back ahead of him coming into turn 1. Outbrakes him brilliantly there. Nick the Villa runs Mike out a little bit wide, as in the background you got Jay squeezing through ahead of Cobb. So Jay's already made up 2 places here in this first few corners. Cobb down to 5th, has got another bad start. But we've been there in P6 ahead of Smokey, as Smokey's got just been passed down the inside there by Raid's Fader, and Smokey gets a bit of a tap there behind as well. Was that Ryan or Big Blue there that tapped Smokey, as we got Ozzy just behind Smokey ahead of Connor, ahead of Archie. But John Boy leading this race, and he's got track position now over Mike, which is crucial. He's also got Nick the Villa in between himself and Mike, so that's going to be important for John Boy at this point. But looking through the order right now, obviously we saw Smokey get tagged a little bit, and he's now dropped down to 11th place, so he's not going to be too happy with that one. But apart from that, we've had quite a clean first lap here for this second race of the night. John Boy trying to stretch out his gap while he can, as we can see a few drivers coming into the pits. So yeah, drive-through penalties. I'm not surprised one bit to see those. I called it on the stream. I said that Nick the Villa and Ryan had jumped the start. It wasn't just those two. Jay also jumped the start. So I saw Nick and Ryan. I called them out straight away. Jay also jumped the start. So those three all going slightly before the lights went out. Maybe the lights were held for a little bit longer than usual, but unfortunately for those guys, they have been caught out well and truly here. And John Boy out the front ahead of Mike, so that now promotes Mike up into second place. But John Boy has very importantly now got nearly a 2-second lead, and can he just maintain that gap for the rest of this race and take some points off of Mike? As we can see, Raid's Fade has had a strong first couple of laps to this race. He's right on the back of Park Hooper as he's trying to get himself into 4th place if he can. Emafford there ahead of Big Blue, followed by Smokey, Ozzy. You got Connor ahead of Archie, followed by Jay and Nick the Villa and Ryan. Those back three having come into the pits for drive-through penalties. They're a long way off and not really doing much in this race so far. Emafford's trying to keep to the back of Park Hooper and Raid's Fader. Big Blue bit deep there coming through the chicane. Does he manage to hold it? He's going to be vulnerable to Smokey Devil, who's looking to the outside into the penultimate corner, and Smokey swoops around the outside, but he's got a bit wide. Big Blue can't get back on him into the final corner. Smokey there gets to move up into 7th place. Nice move there from Smokey, opportunistic there from him. Ozzy Albie's now looking on the back of Big Blue as well as they're coming down the start finish straight, and somebody's lost it there in front of them. That is Park Hooper who's lost it coming out of the last corner, and he's going to lose out to Archie as well and Connor. So those two moving up into 9th and 10th places, and Park Hooper Rex down to 11th. So it's gone horribly wrong there for him as Big Blue's lost out to Smokey Devil. Smokey's up into 5th place and is making positions up after losing quite a few on the first lap due to being tagged in the rear by, I think it was either Ryan or Big Blue that knocked him in the rear. But just there you see, obviously Big Blue is trying to keep himself in this battle here. Aussie and Raidspade are on the back of him as well, but Raidspade has lost a couple of positions here since we last looked at him. John Boy currently leading this race by just under 2 seconds right now, ahead of Mike Gaming, though Cobb about 3 seconds off of these two isn't quite on their pace. He seems to be about half a second to a second off of the pace of the top two at this point. Emafford there in 4th place is just keeping himself in a decent position. He's been consistent so far in this second race. Big Blue is running in 6th places. He's got Aussie Albie and Raidspade are really hassling each other as they're coming through the penultimate corner. Raidspade has got a bit of damage on the car again, so that's 2 races now that he's picked up a bit of damage on the car. He seems to be just a bit reckless so far this season. Not reckless, I wouldn't say. Actually, reckless is the wrong word. A bit aggressive, and he's getting unfortunately he's paying the price for it as Connor's into the pits at the end of lap 3. So is he? Has he got a drive-through maybe? Potentially Connor Boylan with a drive-through. We're just going to watch him here. Hopefully he hasn't made a mistake and thought that there are pit stops, because there are no pit stops this season in the Clio Cup. So hopefully he hasn't scheduled a pit stop. It looks like he has, which is a bit of a strange one, because obviously there is no mandatory pit stop this season. So I don't know if Connor's made a mistake there, but there are no pit stops this season, Connor. You don't need to come in to make a pit stop. So yeah, I don't quite know whether I don't know if he's got damage, or it didn't look like he had damage. But nonetheless, Mike's in the lead. Mike's done the move on John Boy. I didn't see where, but John Boy is now in P2. So Mike Gaming is now ahead of John Boy. So familiar scenario here between these two. Mike Gaming hits the front. John Boy's now got to do it the hard way, and Cobb is actually closing on these guys in the background. He's now only 2 seconds off of the lead. So Cobb could fancy his chances of a race win here. But Mike and John Boy now in the same order as they were in last season's championship, and John Boy's got work to do here. Cobb's still in the back of them. You've got Emafford who's keeping the gap at around 2 seconds to Smoky Devil. You've got Big Blue there just ahead of Aussie Albie, and then there's Raidspade ahead of Archie, ahead of Park Pooper, who's just having a look on Archie into turn 1. He's too far back at the moment. But John Boy on the back of Mike here, as there's just about 0.4 of a second between these two at the moment. Into the hairpin they come. And Mike a bit wide there. I tell you what, really running the risk there. John Boy can't quite get a look in just at the moment though. But John Boy will be frustrated that he's let this lead slip. He had nearly a 2-second lead. He had a comfortable cushion over Mike Gaming, but he's let it slip unfortunately with a little mistake which we didn't see. But obviously he's made some kind of mistake, because otherwise he wouldn't be in the position that he's in. But obviously, John Boy got a bit wrong there coming into the final corner. Just had to correct himself. I think he outbraked himself and had to swerve to avoid running into the back of Mike. But he wants to be doing that a bit less if he wants to win this race. You got Cobb there running in the background, but John Boy quite close to Mike actually coming down the start finish straight. A little bit too far back into turn 1, throwing a little feint to the inside, trying to distract Mike in the mirrors. I tell you what, it's worked, because Mike bit deep. John Boy trying to go for the cutback, can't quite do it. But I tell you what, that was a good little move there from John Boy, quite cheeky, and it definitely worked a treat. Mike was definitely put off a little bit there by John Boy's antics coming into the braking zone. Now John Boy does the same thing again. I don't think he's going to get it to work again. Mike's not going to fall for it this time, but just testing out the waters here is John Boy, trying to put Mike under a little bit of pressure, and showing that it is working. They're showing that he can force Mike into little mistakes here and there at times. And yeah, John Boy currently trying to use that to his advantage where he can. As I'm just noticing a little bit of lag on the stream, but it seems to have subsided now, so we're all good and we're all back on here for this one. But yeah, Mike and John Boy still separated by not much at all here, as they're coming out of the last corner and coming around to complete lap 6. So we're just over a third of the way into this second race of the evening. Cobb just keeping himself in a reasonable touching distance at this point. Just going to check that our mic's on. Yeah, Mike's absolutely a-okay. But yeah, at the moment, Mike and John Boy still 3/10 apart at this point. They're coming out of turn 3. Obviously, you've got Smokey and Big Blue about a second apart at this point. There is Part Pooper and Raids Fade are very close, as they're on the back of Archie. In fact, Archie now in 8th place, so he's had a really good sort of first few laps to this second race. Raids Fade is now looking down the inside of Part Pooper, side by side coming out of turn 3, and Raids Fade gets moved on back up into P9. Beautifully done there from him. Let's go back to the leaders. As always, both of them there, Mike and John Boy, taking a bit too much curb. John Boy has picked up a time penalty in this race. I'm not sure what it is. It's probably a 1 seconder, or hopefully it's not a 2 seconder, but yeah, he needs to rein that in. He's probably going to be hoping that Mike picks one up as well to maybe settle the score a little bit, but at this point, Mike Gaming certainly with the upper hand, took the win in the first race of the night, and he's leading the second one. Cobb's trying to keep these two in his sights, but Mike and John Boy are certainly breaking away a little bit at this point. Oh, his Raids Fade are really wide there, just walloped the curve as he came out the last corner. Ryan and Jay and Nick are all having a good battle here. Interestingly, obviously there's no mandatory pit stop, so they're not going to be able to get their way back into the race. They obviously had drive-throughs on the first lap, which has really cost them a lot of time here in this race, but nonetheless they're battling over 11th place, and these points, they could be crucial coming into the season. Who knows what they will be, you know, what the gaps could be. It could be a close championship, and there could be certainly some pretty decent placings on offer. Oh, as Jay goes into the back of Ryan. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. And Jay waits for Ryan to get going again. Oh, they've crashed into each other again. And these two are getting in a tangle here. And that is not what you want to see at all. That is not what we want to see at all. Nick there now released into some clean air. And these two not having the race so far at all. I'll tell you what, that was handbags there between those two. Mike and John Boy still just under 3/10 between them two as they're coming into turn 1. As we got Big Blue is now clear. He's now a couple of seconds clear of Aussie Albie. Aussie Albie's got Emmaford really close to him here as they're coming down the start finish straight. Emmaford's going to look to go around the outside here of Aussie Albie potentially. Aussie Albie just now switching towards the racing line, squeezing Emmaford out to the outside of the track, and Aussie Albie they're holding on to that position for the time being in P6. Emmaford can't get it done at the moment. The gap at the front between the two leaders, Mike and John Boy, still just under a second, but Mike's now seems to be just upping the tempo a little bit. Can John Boy go with him, as these two have now almost gapped Cobb by nearly 5 seconds, so they're clearly quite a decent chunk quicker than Cobb at this point. But these two seem to have it to themselves right now. John Boy's gained a lot here on Mike on this lap so far. Can he get a good run coming out of the last corner? Mike a little bit wide. John Boy might try and get the run here. And we know what John Boy's like into turn 1. He's been throwing that feint into turn 1 throughout the entirety of this race. So can he get a decent slingshot here on Mike and maybe put him under pressure here coming into turn 1? Here goes John Boy. Mike Gaming leading. John Boy's now going to look to try and fight him here into turn 1. Once again, throws his little dummy. Mike a little bit deep. John Boy tags the curb coming through turn 1. Can he get it stopped and turned in for turn 2? Once again, Mike's got it covered, and John Boy is just trying, he's just testing the limits, but Mike Gaming has still got every answer to him at the moment. These two are coming up on some traffic. You can see in the foreground that is Connor there just coming into the hairpin, but I'm sure Connor will be aware of what's going on behind him. He's a very sportsman-like driver, is Connor Boylan, and I'm sure he won't be interfering with these two, but John Boy just a bit of a lock up there as he came through the hairpin, bit wide onto the grass on the exit. But he's keeping Mike on his toes at the moment, and he's really onto the sausage curb there on 2 wheels. There was John Boy, a bit wide on the exit onto the gravel, still keeping on the back of Mike, but would he have got a slow down for that potentially? Maybe he would have picked up another slow down penalty, and he'd have picked up a couple of seconds on top of that if he doesn't slow down sufficiently enough. But I'll tell you what, Mike's got a slow down. Mike's got a slow down penalty, and he's absolutely let John Boy through. John Boy now leads the race. Mike, I think, was a bit wide coming out of the penultimate corner. Must have been 4 wheels off of the track. He now concedes P1 here to John Boy. So John Boy and Mike has still got a penalty anyway. So he slowed down, still got the time penalty. John Boy now leads the race. Now, come on, I know this is against my this is against my broadcaster ethics, but we are going to pull up the timings. We're going to pull up the penalties just for a second. John Boy's got 2 seconds and Mike's got 1, so it's still advantage Mike. John Boy has track position, but he needs to pull out over a second to Mike if he is to win this race. So at the moment Mike has still got the net race lead, but having said that, John Boy's pulled out nearly a second to him on this lap so far. Connor moving well out of the way for the leaders. There we go, pulls off to the side. John Boy and Mike get through without any dramas, but John Boy's got almost a second of a gap here as he goes wide coming out of the chicane, and that will have just allowed Mike back in again. Will John Boy have got a slow down for that one maybe, as Mike were a bit wide out of the penultimate corner. Now he will probably have got a slow down for that as well, so both of these two probably have picked up a slow down penalty there. If John Boy can slow down enough and shake that penalty, he might find himself on the same number of penalties here as Mike Gaming. This is oh so close between these two. We're going to have to revisit the timing screen in a couple of laps time to update ourselves on the penalty situation, but these two still going at it as they come into turn 1. John Boy really taking a bit too much curve there, very sideways, managed to control it. Mike there will be hoping that John Boy makes a big mistake and he can seize on it and get himself back up into the lead. Archie's still on the back of M. Afford in this battle for 6th place. Park Pooper's still on them as well. Aussie Albie's not too far away there, 3 seconds off of P6 at the moment as M. Afford's got Archie looking to his inside. Archie's going to try and send one down the inside into turn 1. Is he? No, M. Afford just late enough on the brakes, keeping P6 for the time being. Archie was looking, it would have been a speculative move if he had gone for it in the end, thought better of it, but back to the leaders. John Boy and Mike separated by 0.4 of a second right now. We're on lap 12 of 17. We've got just over 5 laps left to go here for the second race of the night, obviously race 2 of 3 for the opening round of the season. Oh, Mike's lost it, he's completely drops it there, coming to the penultimate corner, just keeps it out of the wall, but he would have lost about a second and a half at least there on John Boy, and he is now 1.6 adrift of the race leader. So John Boy now has got a massive opportunity here, and also Mike has got a 2-second penalty, so they are now even in terms of penalties here in this second race. So John Boy just needs to stamp home this advantage. He's got a massive opportunity to tie the championship. We're only 2 races into an 18 race season. I know for those of you who have sat there thinking, what does it mean at this stage, Andy? Stop being ridiculous. Sorry, but I'm just getting excited because the battle between these two has been superb over the last season and a bit, and I want to see a similar battle this season. John Boy has now got the lead of this race. He's got a bit of a cushion, and can he stamp home what he's got here in this one so far? Mike Gaming trying to keep him on terms at this point. These two are now 7 seconds clear of Cobb. Well, John Boy's 7 seconds clear of Cobb, Mike's 5.5 clear of him, but Smokey's still keeping Big Blue at bay, about a second between those two at the moment. M. Afford has got Park Hooper, Archie, and now Aussie Albie's joined this battle. These quartet are still going at it for P6 here in this race. We have lost Raids Fader again, so another retirement for Raids Fader here in this season, and he's racking up those retirements a little bit quickly this season, I have to say. Aussie's got a bit of a run here on Archie. Can he make the move into the chicane? He's going to have a look, but Archie's just about got him covered there as they come through the corner. But Aussie Albie really looking here. He's coming into the penultimate corner here. He's just not quite alongside him enough. You got Park Pooper in the distance there trying to look on M. Afford, but having said that, Aussie has got him run here on Archie into the final corner. Archie though will have the better exit. He's got the better line out of the last corner and keeps on to 8th place for the time being. M. Afford has got Park Pooper now really close to him as well, but Park Pooper just a little bit too far back, I think, to make the move coming into turn 1. 8 of you currently watching the stream, smash that like button, guys, if you're enjoying this one. We've got 4 laps left to go here in this second race of the night as we see M. Afford a little bit deep into turn 1. Archie and Aussie still going at it for 8th and 9th places, but M. Afford holding on to 6th place grimly here ahead of Park Pooper Rex. John Boy still leads the race by 1.6 seconds ahead of Mike Gaming. We believe they've both got the same number of penalties, and Mike has lost a bit more time here to John Boy. He's now nearly 2 seconds adrift, so John Boy just extending the gap where he needs to at this point. Saying that, Mike's just gained a couple of tenths there coming through the final few corners, but these two quite evenly matched in these Clio Cup cars this season, especially around this track, and John Boy just holding the upper hand here in this second race so far. Smokey and Big Blue still separated by about a second. M. Afford still just ahead of Park Pooper, but Park Pooper's really throwing the kitchen sink at him as these two have gapped Aussie and Archie. I don't know if those two maybe have had a bit of a to-do, somewhere out there, but Ozzy and Archie have dropped off of Emmaford and Park Pooper in what could potentially be the battle for P6 here in this race. John Boy and Mike still 1.2. Well, the gap's come down a bit. Mike's just gained a couple of tenths here on John Boy in the first sector. He's only a tenth off of his personal best on 15 lap old tyres, so Mike is starting to come back into this a little bit. Can John Boy hold him off and keep his cool in these final 2 laps of this second race of the night? Smoky Devil has just lost a bit of time to Big Blue. Big Blue's just gained a couple of tenths on Smoky in the last lap or so. Emmaford's still got Park Pooper on the back of him, really close into turn 4, but Park Pooper just a little bit too far away at this point. Ozzy's gapped Archie by quite a bit now. You see Archie's fallen off of him by just over a second now, a second and a half really, to Ozzy Albie. Ozzy Albie's trying to join this battle for 6th place with Emmaford and Park Pooper Rex. The gap is just up at nearly 2 seconds between John Boy and Mike, so John Boy just extending when he needs to here. He's just got that buffer, he's got that little bit of a cushion, and he can sort of afford to just relax a little bit. He doesn't need to go hell for leather in these last 2 laps. He just needs to bring it home. He just needs to go at a comfortable pace, and he will have the lead. He will have that gap when they come over the line to complete lap 17 in just under 2 laps time. So John Boy doing what he has to do to tie the championship after this second race, going into the final race of the night, which will be the third race of 3 for this first round. It will be, obviously this round will be races 1, 2 and 3 of an 18 race season, the 6 weeks championship, but 3 races per round, and it's going to be, I think, a similar story this season to what we saw last season with John Boy and Mike. These two always put on a bit of a show. Smokey's just keeping Big Blue at bay. These two just under a second. Big Blue's closing at points, Smokey's extending at points. These two very evenly matched, as I said. Emmaford, Park Pooper in it, but Ozzy's still pretty close. Archie's just dropped off at the back of these guys a little bit over the course of the last lap or so, but Emmaford's still holding on for P6, as he has done for the entirety of this race. He's been doing a really good job, to be fair. Oh, and John Boy has got a penalty. He's got another penalty. Oh, he's got a 4-second penalty. John Boy's picked up a 4-second penalty. So he needs to pull out 2 seconds to Mike if he's to win this race. He's got his work cut out here, I tell you what. John Boy might have just lost the race here. He needs to have an absolute barnstormer of a final lap here, or is Mike, all we need is Mike to make a mistake and pick up a penalty. But here we come through the hairpin, lap 17 to 17 for the second race of the evening. I think Mike is about to take his second win from 2 for season 12 here in the Clio Cup at Motive, as here we come through the final few corners. John Boy has just got to negotiate the 2 right-handers. Mike Gaming there is trying to keep with him, but he doesn't really need to push here. Mike just needs to keep himself in that sort of that catchment area of John Boy. As John Boy coming out of the last corner here at the Oschersleben B course to take the win on the track, but I think it's going to be Mike Gaming who's going to take the win on the classification. John Boy comes over to take the win on the track, but Mike Gaming is your winner, and it's 2 from 2 for Mike so far this season. Cobb is going to come over to take 3rd place, and that's his second 3rd place in as many races, so it's the same top 3 as we saw in the first race. Mike, John Boy and Cobb. Smoky Devil is going to come around to take 4th place in a few moments time. Here he is over the line there for Smoky. Big Blue takes P5 ahead of Emmaford, who's going to come around to hold off Park Pooper by the looks of it. We see Ozzy losing it there in the background, and he loses out to Archie, so Archie takes P8 at the death there, but Emmaford is going to come over to take P6 ahead of Park Pooper. Archie 8th place ahead of Ozzy, who takes 9th. Ryan Ruby is going to come around to take 10th place here in this race, as here he comes out of the last corner. So P10 there for Ryan, a couple of seconds clear of Nick. So Ryan comes out on top in that battle of the drive-through drivers. But Ryan P10, Nick 11th, and Jay P12 here for the second race of the night. Connor's just disconnected. We'll get him back in for the final race. Obviously, hopefully people know that we're doing 3 races this season for each round. But guys, stay tuned. We'll be back in about 5 minutes time for the final race of the evening here for the Clio Cup, opening round of the season at the Oschersleben B course for season 12 here at Motive on Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation platform. Mike and John Boy though for the final time. Oh, John Boy's made a mistake. John Boy's gone really wide there coming up the hill, and I think that's going to be Mike Gaming finally. Well, he's pretty much, that's the nail in John Boy's hopes to taking this feature race win. Mike Gaming will take the double here tonight, and John Boy's going to be absolutely gutted with that one. The champion of the Clio Cup, the reigning champ, is going to have to settle for second best for a second time here tonight. Mike Gaming has really put in the work. He has been putting in the practice over the pre-season, and he's improved no end here in these Clio Cup cars. Out of the last corner comes Mike Gaming, and he's going to take 2 from 2 here at Laguna Seca for the season opener. Flash the lights from him. Mike Gaming, a superb drive all night tonight. John Boy comes over to take second place. The outside, but the Nuts there managing to get the lead. Now Paul Poop is looking to the inside of Ozzy Albie as well. Ozzy Albie needs to keep calling. Oh, the Nuts moves across on Ozzy Albie. That's the second time tonight that he's done that. The Nuts there just moved across unnecessarily, and there's a big pile up there. Cobb gets collected, and so does Beam Basher. John Boy, the race leader, he's just coming through Woodcote, and John Boy was able to capitalise on everybody else's problems here and just be in the right place at the right time. John Boy up towards the line, last season's Clio Cup champion, comes over the line in the feature race to take the win here at Silverstone. But they're coming through the final half of that. Where's the race leader Mike Gaming? He's just coming through the final few corners. Ozzy Albie could be moments away from sealing a very deserved P2. A massive credit to him for the race he's driven in the final part of this race. Mike Gaming is coming to the final few corners, and he's going to take the checkered flag. It's going to be 2 wins from 2 for Mike Gaming. A flash the lights from him. A flawless performance here tonight. But Ozzy Albie is going to, I think, bring it home for P2. 9 of you currently watching, smash the like button, show your appreciation for this man here, who has managed to hold off John Boy in one of the best defensive drives I think I've ever seen here at Motive. Ozzy Albie comes over to take P2 ahead of John Boy in third.
Turn 8 onto the back straight. And Mike, it just looks like he's right at time there. He's managed to get the gap down to 6 seconds. It's 3 seconds, sorry. Flash of the lights there from Mike. He says, well done, John Boy. And just right at time. And he did have the pace, but it's also down to, do you really want to push under these circumstances where we saw Cobb was pushing and ended up in the wall. Now he's dropped down to P3. So your winner of the feature race this evening is John Boy, taking the maximum 50 points. Mike coming home second and taking the fastest lap of the race. It will be Cobb rounding up your podium if Ryan doesn't do something in this last corner. As we see, Ryan's closed that gap down massively in this last lap or two. And Cobb being defensive there at the last corner. It's quite a run down to the finish line, so will it be a photo finish or will Cobb get away with it? I think he will. And Mike now just thinking, where can I get back past Andy? Where can I do this? As Andy just trying to hit his lines perfect, get on the power earlier than he has before, brake later than he has before, and get himself around for the victory in this sprint race here at Motive Racing this evening. So he's looking in his mirrors now. Who's slipstreaming? Where are they? Where are they? Mike's on the track, off the track, trying to get past. John Boy's on the outside. We're 3 wide into the chicane. Mike manages to get it done. Andy's on the inside. Who's going to be first into the last corner? John Boy comes through the middle. I think John Boy's going to be on the inside into the last corner. Mike taking the outside, trying to get a good drive. We're going to be side by side out of the last corner. Who's going to take the victory? And I think it's going to be John Boy. And it is John Boy. John Boy takes the victory there. What a drive John Boy got through that chicane to come flying through.
The champion-elect Mike Gaming moves to the inside and takes the lead into turn 1. Cobb though trying to come back at him. Cobb trying to sneak his nose up the inside. Ryan there's waiting in the wings as he's now got a run here on Cobb. Cobb defending the inside, coming through Ascari. Mike Gaming though leading down the back straight here for the final time. What can Cobb do? Has he got the slipstream? Has he got a run? Mike Gaming got a much better exit out of Ascari and is pulling away, coming down towards the Parabolica. I think Mike Gaming should have this done unless Cobb can get a good run out of the Parabolica. Ryan still waiting, hoping, maybe praying that he might be able to get a good run, coming out onto the start finish straight. Here they come, massive lock up there from Cobb, really stood around. He can't win the race now. Ryan might get a run on him. Mike Gaming though is going to come up to towards the line, and he came into this with a pretty healthy lead in the championship. Mike Gaming has done everything right over the course of tonight. It's going to be a magnificent double here at Monteshaw, and it's going to be his first ever championship at Motive Racing, and that is not how I wanted him to finish the season. But nonetheless, congratulations to Mike Gaming on a fantastic season. Your Clio Cup champion for season 11. Cobb takes second ahead of Ryan in third of the Clio Cup for this season. His first championship at Motive. What an improvement, what steps he has made from last season to this season. When it comes to drivers taking it to the next level, Mike has truly done that, both on Mondays and on Thursday nights. We've still got Thursday to go. Could it be the double? But nonetheless, you've got one half of it. Mike Gaming, Clio Cup champion at Motive Racing for season 11. How does that feel?
Great, absolutely awesome. The racing, the close fights, the little ups, little downs, amazing. Just love it.
Obviously, you've been so consistent this season. You've taken double wins. You've been the dominant force around so many circuits. I've seen your pace up close and personal a couple of times. I managed to get into a couple of races this season, how competitive you are, and how clean and how fair, but how uncompromising you are out on track. It really is fantastic to behold. In terms of John Boy this season, how close has he pushed you this season? How difficult is it to go up against him? Because I know the answer as well, but is it a case of, did you feel like at points like this could have got away from you?
At some points I did, because he just did not give anything away about his position, his standings, his overall pace. He just comes in the race and just shows it to you. No exception, no rounds. It was just, you cannot predict how fast.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here for the final race of the night. We're just in the practice session beforehand, but it's going to be a reverse grid based on the results from race 2. So it's going to, and that will be the same for each and every week here for this final race. So we're just going to take the results from the previous races and flip it on its head. Also, we're going to have a night race for this final race. It'll be a manual formation lap beforehand. The drivers will get into order based on the results from the previous race, the reverse grid results, and then once we get to the end of the formation, that will be officially underway. But Mike, as he has done all night, setting the pace here in this practice session, but I wouldn't read too much into it. It doesn't mean a whole lot in practice. Obviously, they're probably running race fuel as well, I would imagine, because there's not really much to gain from running qualifying fuel. Yeah, they are pretty much all running race fuel here. You can see they've all got their full tanks in. Well, in fact, it's default setup, so I'm being a bit of a div right now. They have to be on race fuel. They always are on race fuel. So sorry, bit of a mad moment there. I do apologise for that. But yeah. Coming towards the end of this practice session right now, Mike Gaming, last season's champions, taken both race wins here tonight. Can he make it a full house? Can he make it a hat-trick in the first ever event that we're doing, where it's been 3 races instead of 2? It looks like Connor's jumped out for this last race. I'm not sure if he knew that it's 3 races this season. But nonetheless, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to message him and let him know. So look at that then, Mike Gaming just dipping in the 1 minute 10s at the end of that practice session. 1:10.9 there from him, well clear of the rest of them, but I can't imagine the guys are pushing too much in that session. But Mike Gaming P1, John Boy second, Jay third. Reverse grid based on the standings from the previous race. Raids Fader will be starting from the back as he didn't complete enough for the race in the previous one to be classified, so it's going to be the same order that I read out to the guys in the chat. Raids Fader, it will be P13. So Connor's just realised that it's 3 races this season, and obviously he left before the end because he was a bit wound up about the second race, but that is a shame, to be fair. But obviously we'll catch you next week, Connor, and there'll be plenty more opportunities this season. But yeah, 3 races, and it's a reverse grid. So the third race is the reverse grid, and the first race from next week onwards will actually be a reverse grid based on the championship as well. So there'll be lots of opportunities for you to get yourself back into some racing. Obviously you'll be starting on pole next week for the or at the very least near the front for the second race. Obviously tonight's not gone your way, but you know, next week is a whole new opportunity. But yeah, it's going to be Race Fader at the back of this 13 driver field, a manual formation lap to get things underway. Guys, if you've enjoyed the stream so far tonight, please do smash a like for the final race of this evening. And if you enjoy the action, also if you're watching this for the first time, be sure to join us at www.motiveracing.com and subscribe to the channel as well, as it helps us out an enormous amount. It really does. Every subscription means the world to us. We've got 1100 now. We hit 1100 yesterday during the PS5 GT3 League on ACC. It's a massive honour for me to say that we've hit 1100 subscribers. We hit 1000 about 4 months ago now. It's been slow progress, to be fair. You know, we've been going for 2.5, getting on for 3 years now, so you know, it's been a long time of graft, but we're getting there, and you know, we're making steps and continuing to grow. The growth is not as quick nowadays as it was in the early days, because back in the early days we were at the height of the COVID pandemic where everybody was cooped up at home. Nowadays obviously people can sort of choose what they want to do with their lives and a lot of people aren't at home at the sim rigs, which is a shame for us racers, for us avid sim racers. But then again, you know, I suppose at least then we know where we stand. Everybody here is here because they want to be, rather than because they're not allowed to go out. So I guess that's an advantage of knowing where we stand in terms of who's really serious about this whole sim racing game. But anyway, here we come out of the last corner. We're about to go racing here. Jay, when he puts his foot to the floor, we will be underway. We are green. Jay is gone, and here we come up towards the line. Nick the Villa's kept with him though as they're coming over the line to start the race. Ryan there in third place. The 3 drivers who got drive-throughs at the start leading us around here at the Oschersleben B course. You've got Aussie there just behind there in 4th place ahead of Archie, but into turn 1 they come. Doesn't look like any moves are being shaped up just at the moment. We can see there Archie gave Aussie a bit of a tap there coming through turn 1. Archie might get passed here by Part Pooper, who's looking on the inside. Part Pooper's made the move there on Archie up into 5th, but Part Pooper's actually been passed there. Archie's managed to hold it around the outside there in 5th place, as Part Pooper there's going to possibly have the inside in towards turn 4. Oh, there's contact there behind them. Mufford and Smokey coming together there, and Smokey now, sorry, Big Blue and Smokey even, and there's somebody's really sideways there in the foreground, but there's been an unfortunate incident there. Cobb's down to the back of the pack, and he's on the grass. Cobb's had a nightmare of a start to this race. He's really not had the first lap that he would have ideally been envisaging in this final race of the night. But it's Jay leading ahead of Nick, followed by Ryan at the moment, as these guys have just managed to well, they've actually not really gapped Aussie too much. The top 4 have broken away, so Aussie's kept with these 3, and they've gapped Part Pooper now by almost 3 seconds. But Part Pooper obviously has been in the forwards a little bit on the first lap himself. John Boy's already up into 6th, so he's had an absolute stormer, but Mike Gaming has followed him around. So the 2 guys who were 1 and 2 in the previous race 2 of the night, are now running in 6th 6th and 7th, having started from 12th and 13th places. Oh, sorry, from 11th and 12th even. On the grid is Mike, sending one down the inside of John Boy. Has he gone deep into the corner? I think he has. John Boy back down the inside, gets the cut back and beautifully keeps onto that position there. Mike's going to try and get down the inside for the exit of turn 3, but John Boy's got that one covered, and beautifully done there from John Boy. He just saw that coming, knew that Mike had carried too much speed and didn't stress himself, didn't panic, just beautifully timed his exit there, and holds on to 6th place at the moment. But these two championship contenders potentially already, we're talking about the championship, these two have been in a league of their own tonight, out the front in both the first 2 races, but obviously with the reverse grid for the final race, they got their work cut out to come back through the pack, but they're still battling despite the fact that they're trying to come back at the pack. The rest of the guys in front of them, they are still giving each other absolute hell out on track. It's great to watch, but John Boy and Mike still running in the mid pack at the moment. Jay though leading this race by just under a second here to Nick, and Ryan still keeping tabs with him. Aussie Albie's only about a second off for these guys right now, and is very much in the hunt for a potential race win here in race 3 of the evening here at the Oschersleben B course, round 1 of the season. Obviously race 3 of 18 for the season, round 1 of 6 for the entire lot. But we've got Jay, Nick and Ryan really close, as Ryan there just a bit Nick went a bit deep into turn 2. Ryan's down the inside and Ryan gives Jay a bit of a tap there, runs him a bit wide. Jay's not going to be too happy with that one and gets squeezed out to 3rd place. Nick the Villa squeezes in between him into 2nd, but Ryan there a bit aggressive, really went for that one and just pushed Jay out of the way there. Obviously Nick got a bit of a poor run, but Jay seemed to be fouled a little bit there by Ryan. Ryan now leads the race. Jay's now getting back ahead of Aussie there up into 3rd place. Now he's back onto Nick once again, but Jay won't be too happy with that one, I'm sure. As Part Pooper's within 3 seconds of the leaders at the moment. You've got John Boy, who's closing up onto the back of Part Pooper a little bit. He's only 4 seconds off of the lead now, is John Boy. Mike is still with him, so these two coming for the leaders and chipping away at that gap right now. But it's still Ryan ahead of Nick, followed by Jay ahead of Aussie. And these guys have now not got as much of a gap to Part Pooper as they did, as they are all battling with each other for the lead of this race. But Ryan Ruby leads at the end of lap 4, and he's currently in a very prime position at the moment to do something strong here in this race. Part Pooper, John Boy, Mike there is really close on John Boy now, and this could be for, well, once again, these two top 2 in the championship. This could be for this could mean quite a lot by the end of the season. John Boy's keeping himself on the inside there for turn 2 and holding on to the position just about. Mike once again can't set himself up for that inside line into turn 2, and John Boy doing everything right here in this battle. But these two once again putting on a great show, as Nick has lost out to Jay. Jay's up into 2nd place, into the hairpin they come. Jay's now looking up the inside of Ryan. Ryan a bit wide. Jay sneaks up the inside there, and Jay gets himself up into P1. So a beautiful move there from Jay, keeping an eye on the battle between Mike and John Boy, because Mike's ahead of John Boy. So Mike's made the move there as we were watching Jay get ahead of Ryan up into the lead of the race. Mike has now got ahead of John Boy up into P6. So the 2 championship contenders from last season once again going at it. Obviously Mike has beaten John Boy twice already this evening, and he's now got track position once again. Mike loves putting a move on John Boy. He's done it 3 times over the course of tonight. Jay and Nick still 3/10 apart, as Nick has got in between not just Jay and Ryan, but also Aussie Albie's got in between them. In fact, Ryan's losing places here. What's happened to him? He's lost out to Part Pooper now. Part Pooper's up into 4th, as we see a flash the lights there from John Boy on Mike. Jay's picked up a time penalty, but he is leading the race. And Nick the Villa, Aussie, not Part Pooper, Ryan, Mike, John Boy. Now we've got a 7-car battle here for the lead of the race, which Jay is currently heading, as we are on lap 6 of the race. No pit stops here for the Clio Cup this season. It's going to be all about whether they can get it done on the track. Mike and John Boy are not going to be able to strategize their way past this pack, as we can see Mike now pulling a move here on Ryan. He's pushing him a bit wide there. Ryan nowhere to go. John Boy's now going to look to the outside of Mike. Can he get it around the outside here of the hairpin? Mike though's not going to be able to keep it there. I think John Boy's just keeping it on the inside. No, Mike does hold it around the outside of John Boy, but Ryan there was a bit aggressive, squeezing John Boy out. Mike squeezing Mike out, and Mike just had nowhere to go. Ryan keeping onto that one at the moment. J-Lo still leading the race ahead of Nick, just under a second between those two. Aussie now running in 3rd place, with Ryan dropping back a little bit. He's now got Part Pooper in front of him. He's obviously got Mike and John Boy really hassling him. The top 2 from both the first 2 races this evening starting at the back due to the reverse grid. J-Lo's starting to open up a bit of a gap here, and we've got 3 wide here down the start finish straight. Look at this. Nick the Villa on the inside. You've got Part Pooper trying to thread the needle. Aussie Albie there keeping it around the outside. Can he stay there? As we've got contact there coming into turn 1 one. Nick just squeezes him out. Part Pooper there trying to hold it there. Ryan squeezes through, and then Nick there holding it in P2, somehow keeping himself in that hunt. But Ryan there losing out there down to 4th place. Part Pooper there squeezing through, and Aussie Albie's dropped down to 7th place. So Aussie Albie's had a real horror show there in that little scuffle. He's lost 4 places there, but Nick the Villa still running in 2nd place. While these guys are battling, it's playing into the hands of this, well, we should be watching Jay, but we're not currently. This man here, Jay, is absolutely running off at the moment, and he will be loving this because he's not at the start of the season he wanted. He had a nightmare of a season last season. The first 2 races haven't gone entirely to plan, but maybe he could be about to put a lot of his woes to rest here tonight, as he's currently got P1 and track position and is looking very good for his money at this stage. Part Pooper's got Ryan looking to his inside. Mike and John Boy still there. John Boy might be trying to pull a move on Mike. You'd be sure that he'd be wanting to get one over on him in this final race of the night, seeing as he's lost to him twice so far. Mike though starting up a move here on Ryan, looking to the inside into turn 1. Has he got that one done? He has done. Mike Matt managing to get that move done beautifully there. Now he's going to look on Part Pooper as well. Part Pooper leads in McCar's width there on the inside. Mike's going to try and get this one done here, coming down the back straight. John Boy there's managed to get ahead of Ryan, now up into 5th place as well. Mike Gaming though gets the move done on Part Pooper, and he has made seamless progress through his pack, as John Boy's now on the back of Part Pooper. Aussie is just squeezed through ahead of Ryan, so Ryan is going backwards here in this 3rd race of the night here at the Oschersleben B course. But John Boy up into P5. Mike there running in the final podium spot at the moment. Jay though continuing to stretch his legs out the front with a 3-second gap. Don't know what his time penalty is, but well, we're going to have a look. It's a 1-second time penalty, so it's not the worst, and he should still be able to keep a reasonable gap to these guys. Part Pooper, John Boy very close still as they're coming into the final corner. Aussie Albie has got ahead of Ryan. Ryan really wide coming to the penultimate corner. He's now lost out to him. Now Big Blue might be on the back of Ryan soon. Ryan seems to be going backwards at this point, really struggling at this stage in the race, but Jay continuing to pull out the gap. Mike's now is sizing up Nick the Villa as he's looking in towards turn 1. Can he make the move? Mike too far back, and Nick's just covering it off at the moment as John Boy's managed to get ahead of Part Pooper now. So there's only one. Well, Mike and John Boy now are next to each other in terms of the classification, and depends on how well Nick the Villa can hold Mike up, but maybe Nick the Villa could be the thorn in his side for Mike Gaming and potentially get John Boy back onto the rear of his big rival, as Part Pooper trying to hold on the inside of Aussie Albie. Aussie Albie's trying to keep it around the outside here of turn 5. Can't do it, but I tell you what, he might set himself up for the inside here into the hairpin. Aussie Albie there, great move around Part Pooper. Superb stuff there, had that telegraphed to a T. You can see in the background Ryan now trying to get onto the back of Part Pooper. Part Pooper's not done, still trying to come back at Aussie, but Aussie's got that done up into P5. And that was textbook stuff there from Aussie Albie. Nick the Villa's still running in 2nd place. He's got Mike looking to his inside. He's going to send one down the inside into the final corner, but has he gone deep? Maybe. Doesn't look like it. Looks like he's got it pretty nicely done there. Nick though's got the run down the start finish straight. Might try and come back at Mike into turn 1 potentially. Has he got enough of a run? Has he got the confidence to send one on the brakes? He is having a look to the inside, throws a little feint. Has Mike gone deep on the brakes? It looks like he has gone a bit deep, but not deep enough to warrant any kind of concern. And Mike there's job done up into 2nd place. Now John Boy's got to get ahead of Nick and try and chase down his championship rival here in this final race of the night. But Jay has done everything right out the front in the first few laps of this race, has currently got the lead. He's got track position. He's enjoying himself out the front. He's got a 3-second gap to Mike. The question is, with 8 laps left to go, is 3 seconds enough for him to see this race out, or is Mike going to hunt him down and snatch the win from Jay, our former touring car champion here at Motive, runner-up in the Clios 2 seasons ago. Last season was a bit of a write-off for him in terms of the Clio Cup. He was 2nd in the touring car championship, so he had a good campaign in the touring cars last time out. But the Clio Cup was basically a complete write-off for this man, and he's currently out the front though in this race here tonight. He has got a time penalty as we said before, but it's only 1 second, so as it stands he's got enough of a buffer to still be able to take the win. You got Mike there in 2nd, Nick the Villa 3rd, followed by John Boy, as John Boy's made a mistake on this lap because he's dropped into the clutches of Aussie Albie. Has he got a slowdown? I think he might have a slowdown here. John Boy's now lost out to Aussie Albie. Aussie Albie up into 4th place. Ryan, Big Blue, Part Pooper running very close, these three in the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th place. places. You've got Raids Fader not too far from them as well. Raids Fader's had a much better race in this third race than he's had in the previous two tonight, and he's keeping himself in the mid-pack hunt at the moment. But you currently got Nick Lavillas, who's dropped off at the back of Mike by a bit. He's now a second adrift of him in third place. John Boy will be looking to try and get onto the back of Nick in the next few laps, but I fear that maybe John Boy's best hope in this race will be a podium at this rate. He's got back ahead of Aussie Albie up into fourth place. Aussie's still got Ryan, Big Blue, Park Pooper and Raids Fader now joining this battle, so there's now technically a six-way battle for fourth place, all the way from fourth down to ninth. But John Boy will hope that he can pull away from this pack. Oh, as Aussie's dropped it and he's gone straight into he's gone into not Raids Fader, no, he's gone into Ryan. So Aussie and Ryan coming together there, and unfortunately for those two down now, dropping well off at the back of them. Now they've got Archie and Cobb on the back of them as well, but Aussie Albie down to the back. Ryan has lost a few places down to 8th place, but Aussie Albie there, I think he lost it coming on the exit of the chicane and then went spearing into Ryan. Ryan had nowhere to go. Ryan in the end came off not as badly, but Aussie Albie coming into the pits to get that damage fixed, and that has not gone well at all there for Aussie Albie, as Raids Fader's really close on the back of Park Pooper now. These guys coming down towards turn 4. He's a little bit too far back to send one on the brakes, but Park Pooper there, a bit of a lock up there as he came into the corner. Coming into the pits to get that. Jay's still out the front, leading the race by 0.7 of a second at the moment over Mike Gaming. Nick Lavilla still running in third place at the moment, as he got a little bit of a slide there coming through out of the chicane into the penultimate corner. He comes, but Jay now has got heavy pressure from Mike Gaming. He's lost quite a lot of time to Mike over the last couple of laps, and obviously with the time penalty that Jay's got, he knows that 1 second is not, well, half a second is not enough of a gap to take this race win. So Mike Gaming once again in the prime position here, and could be on to take a hat-trick of wins here in this first round of the season. He's looking to the outside into turn 1. Jay covers that line off at the moment, but Mike Gaming looking very good for his money for a third victory here tonight. And Jay has got a 3-second time penalty now. He did have a 1 second penalty before. That is now 3 seconds, so he's going to lose probably, well, definitely P1, but potentially Nick Lavilla's on his radar as well in P3. So Jay not having the not after a promising start, it's not been the not been the developments that he would have wanted here in this race, as Raids Fader's still trying to keep Park Pooper behind him right now in 6th and 7th places. He's obviously got ahead of him, but hasn't been able to shake him off. Park Pooper still keeping him on his toes at the moment. Mike Gaming those really close on Jay, looking to the outside into the chicane. Can he get the inside for the second part of the corner? No, Jay covers him. In fact, that wasn't the chicane, that was the penultimate corner. Sorry, I do apologise. But Jay now trying to keep Mike on the outside. He's trying to squeeze him to the edge of the track. Oh, bit of contact there, door banging between the two of them. Mike Gaming now have the inside for the turn 1. They're side by side down the start finish straight. Is Jay going to tuck in for the slipstream? No, yes he is now. Mike Gaming on the inside. Jay's going to try and send one around the outside if he can. Mike Gaming's covering that inside line off. Can Jay get it all the way around the outside? He's going to go for the cutback. He wasn't really sure what to do there, but he's got the inside for turn 2 as they bang doors once again. Jay doing a great move there and really outfoxing Mike very impressively indeed. Keeping on to P1 just about, and Mike Gaming's going to have to think again here, because Jay is definitely not giving up on this one without a fight, but that's allowing Nick Lavilla into striking distance on these two. He's now only 2 seconds off of the lead and could potentially smell a P2, maybe even a victory if these two continue to fight. Nick Lavilla certainly not out of the battle for this win. John Boy 5 seconds off of the lead, running in 4th place, but if Jay can continue to give Mike a bit of hell, then maybe these two might be brought into this battle, possibly Nick and John Boy. Big Blue's only 6 seconds off the lead at the moment, running in 5th place, but Jay and Mike coming through the final couple of corners here. Just over 4 laps left to go at the Oschersleben B course here for the final race of this evening, third race of 3 for round 1, obviously race 3 of 18 for the whole season, and Mike Gaming is within 2/10 of Jay. He's going to have another try here coming down the start finish straight, but this time Jay is ahead as they're coming up towards turn 1. Is he going to defend that inside line? Mike's looking. Jay once again a bit of a late defence as they come into the braking zone. Mike's going to try all the way around the outside, but he goes deep and Jay really wallops the curb, but Mike gave him a bit of track limits there. Maybe would have got a slowdown for that one, because he definitely was 4 wheels off of the track as they came out of turn 1 into turn 2, and through 3 they go out onto the back straight, and Mike Gaming I think will have got a slowdown for that. Is he going to back out of it? That's the question. maybe the game would have rescinded his slowdown based on the fact that he didn't gain any time from running wide. But Nick the Villain now in striking distance, and John Boy's made a mistake because he's dropped behind Big Blue, so Big Blue's up into 4th place. Didn't see where that happened, but Big Blue's now gained a position here, and John Boy's now got to try and fight Big Blue tooth and nail for 4th place. Raids Fader's right there in the background as well. Has John Boy got a bit of damage on the front of his car? It looks like he might do, maybe, as he had a bit of a knock somewhere. But Big Blue into 4th place. Raids Fader can now taste a potential P4 here in this race. Jay and Mike still battling as they come into the final corner. Mike Gaming in a similar position to what we were 2 laps ago. Has got a bit of that car alongside. Jay might try and cover him. No, Jay can't because Mike's just alongside. Coming down the start finish straight. Here we go, side by side again. Jay just ahead. Is he a car length ahead though? That's the question. I don't think he is. I think he's just under a car length. Mike has got a bit of his car alongside. Very late on the brakes from Mike. Goes a little bit deep, but does he get it stopped in time? He does get it stopped in time, and that's a great move from Mike Gaming, and Jay could do nothing about it. Mike Gaming up into the lead of the race coming out of turn 3. Jay bin it wide. Oh, he almost bins it there, just keeps onto it, but Mike Gaming now has the initiative here in this final race of the evening, and I think has just made the race winning manoeuvre there, unless Jay can throw a bit of a surprise here in the final 2.5 laps of this race. But Mike Gaming hits the front once again, and it's a familiar sight that we've seen over the course of tonight. Mike Gaming has led races over the course of tonight. He's been the man to beat here at the Oschersleben B course. He must love this circuit. To be fair, he's quick around every track that he races in. He is our Clio Cup and Touring Car champion for a very good reason. We'll also be commentating tomorrow night alongside myself for the GT3s. Always Jay, bit loose there coming out of the penultimate corner into the final corner, keeps it going, but that's just allowed Mike to just extend the gap to just over a second, and I think that might be job done there for Mike Gaming as he's coming over to start the penultimate lap. As Raids Fader's got John Boy close on him, coming down the start finish straight up towards turn 1. John Boy having a look to the inside. Is he going to send one on the brakes here? He's thinking about it. You can see there he's tempted, but Raids Fader late enough on the brakes. Oh, he tackles the grass a bit coming into the braking zone. Does he get it stopped for turn 2? John Boy's going to sneak down the inside. Beautifully gets the cutback there. Seizes on Raids Fader's little mistake and says, "Thank you very much, Raids Fader. I will happily seize upon that unfortunate little incident there for yourself." But Raids Fader's trying to come back at John Boy coming into turn 4, not quite close enough, and John Boy there looks like he has P5 done there, as Mike's got a 2-second gap now over Jay. Jay's got a penalty, so he will lose out to Nick the Villa as it stands. Nick the Villa should be able to pick up the second place in this race with Jay's penalty. For you currently watching the stream, guys, smash the like button if you've enjoyed tonight's action. It's Mike Gaming who looks set to take a hat-trick of wins here for the opening round of the season. Jay fought him tooth and nail but couldn't quite match him, and he looks on course to lose out to Nick the Villa as well with the penalty for Jay. Big Blue running in 4th place has driven an absolute cracker of a race tonight, but I think he's going to lose out to John Boy on the time penalties, so John Boy should be able to pick up P4. Raids Fader running in P6 just behind John Boy has also got a time penalty, so is Part Pooper, so is Ryan. Cobb there running in 9th place has not had the race in this 3rd race that he's had in the previous 2. He obviously was in 3rd place behind Mike and John Boy in both of the first 2 races, but struggled to make progress here in this final race of the night, as Mike Gaming's got a 3-second gap now over Jay, and he just needs to bring it around this final half a lap. Bit of a slide there into the hairpin. Jay is going to have to wear the heavy pressure here from Nick the Villa, but obviously we know that Jay's got a 3-second time penalty, so he's probably going to lose out to Nick the Villa unless Nick the Villa makes a big mistake coming through this final few corners. You got Big Blue still just ahead of John Boy. I think John Boy's going to get that on the time penalties for P4, but Mike Gaming coming into the final corner here at the Oschersleben B course, the reigning champion. He obviously is the champion of the Clio Cup and the touring cars here at Motive on Project Cars 2, and he gets off a perfect start to his Clio Cup defence here. 3 wins from 3 tonight here for the opening round of the season. What a performance from Mike Gaming. Jay comes over to take 2nd place, but Nick the Villa gets him on the penalties, so Nick the Villa 2nd, Jay finishes in 3rd place. John Boy does get Big Blue on the penalties, so John Boy 4th, Big Blue 5th, Raids Fader 6th in the end. Cobb gets Ryan on the penalty, so Cobb 7th, Ryan 8th. Part Pooper comes over in 9th. Smoky Devil completes the top 10. But a few penalties there, changing up the order, but ultimately Mike Gaming, your race winner here for this one. We're going to see Amafford coming around to finish in 10th place, as there he is. We've had somebody disconnect there on the final lap. In fact, it was Raids. No, it wasn't Raids, Fader. It might have been one of the drivers who finished the race. Oh, it was Part Pooper who disconnected after they crossed the line. Yeah, we'll give Part Pooper the position for that. We'll classify him for that. Wow, what a night that was. Archie and Aussie Albie completing the classification there for the third race of the night. That was absolutely brilliant, guys. What a season we have in store. The action out on track so close. I'm really enjoying the new format. 3 races, I think, 3 sprint races, way better than what we had before with the slightly boring feature races, kind of putting paid to what was always a good sprint race. 3 sprint races, non-stop action. That is what we want, and that is what we're getting. Thanks everybody once again. Congratulations to Mike Gaming, a massive congratulations on taking a hat-trick of wins for the opening round of the season. Nick Lavilla and Jay, well done to those guys for the podium finishes. Also John Boy and Cobb for finishing on the podium in the first 2 races. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. If you're one of the drivers watching this back, please do hit the like button, guys. It helps us out hugely. Share this with your friends and family members and otherwise associates if you think they might be interested in checking it out. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Obviously, we're running tomorrow night on for the GT3s, for the return of the GT3s on Project Cars 2. We'll be live at the same time as usual, 8:30 p.m. for that one. A few of the guys here tonight will be in for that one. And for those of you who play on ACC or enjoy ACC, we'll be live for the PS4 GT3 League on Wednesday night, and then we're back on Project Cars 2 on Thursday for the touring cars at 8:30 p.m. The F1 will be back on Friday as always at 6:45 on the F1 game. Saturday, currently we haven't got anything planned, but I'm hoping to set up a realistic F1 league on Saturday nights, which will probably have to wait until next week. But I'm thinking of running a trial run for it this week, so we might have something on Saturday night for you. And Sunday night, obviously, we've got a PS5 GT3 League, and then we'll be back here next week for the Clio Cup, back for round 2 of the season. But thanks to everybody ever so much, guys, for joining us once again, and we will see you in the next one. Yeah, take it easy, everybody, and good night.